what is this thing?
Gio should never play for U.S. men's national team again because of the action of his parents.
What an idiot! Oh!
What type of Muppet does this?
Muppets. Absolute Muppets.
I'm not going to be the best person to give a whole explanation here, but that's...
Booty, booty! Sing, sing! Booty, booty!
Fucking deal with it. What are we really doing?
Yeah, I can agree with that. There are a zebra in between a tarantula and an elephant.
Has been nothing more than a sham.
Yeah, we didn't play well, but you know what? At the end of the day, we got the job done.
It's going to be a good time for sure.
Oh, sex with the first cousin would indeed be incest. And
all right, ready. Welcome to the Straight Red Card. We got so much to uncover tonight. I'm really worried that this show could go on for 3 hours again. Oh, Brett's plugging in his. There we go. All set to go. We do have an old sponsor has returned to the show, so that's good news. So I'll get that out of the way. Tonight's show is sponsored by KY Jelly. KY Jelly, your stepsister approved, and think about how much more fun the Brady Bunch would have been with some KY Jelly. You know, we'd have to wait till Jan. And
until they all became of age, of course.
No, yes. Marcia and Greg became seniors in high school, right? Right. Yeah. Okay. So I don't want to get that twisted. All right. All right. Don't want to get that twisted. All right. By the way, saw a great piece of news today. This is another. It falls in the category of news that isn't news, right? Headline: Trump lands endorsement of NRA. No shizzle. Really? Really? That's strange. News? That's not news.
Strange.
Of course that's going to happen. By the way, Usyk defeated Tyson Fury. That was an amazing heavyweight fight. We now have, for the first time in my lifetime I can remember, a united belt. Like all the titles are with one dude. A 6'1" Ukrainian dude beat the living hell out of I think he's undefeated. Tyson Fury is 6'7". He's a gigantic, humongous person, 285, never been defeated, beat everybody that's come at him, and now he finally got beat.
It was like Mike Tyson's punch out, right? He was like the guy was punching up at him the entire time.
Yeah, no, seriously, he was punching up at him, and it took him a bunch of rounds to figure out how to get it done because that guy's Tyson Fury's arm length is so long he just couldn't get past the dude's jab, and you know. It'll spice things up. Apparently, they're going to go at it for a rematch in October. They're making tons of fucking money. What do they care? Lexi Lawless is in Germany. He's been sending all these photos of him in a valley of daisies. Like, I expected Heidi to be dancing behind him or, the sound of music. Yeah, to start at any moment. I sent him that. And actually, we kind of rapped back and forth today about it. It was kind of funny. So
you told them what your rap name is?
What my rap name?
Yeah. Did you tell you guys were rapping back and forth, so
oh no. I mean, I could tell him it's D-Rec, but we never really hassled him a whole lot when D-Rec was around, right?
Was that I thought you had a different rap name.
Nah, it's also my rap name.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, I might have had another rap name at one point, but that was a long, long time ago, and it switched all the time, right? So, and then, I was telling him about, I lived in Erlangen, I lived in Berlin, and so he's been near the Erlangen area at one point.
I've heard these places before.
I don't think he's going to get to. I think he was in Munich earlier, but I don't think he's going, or München. I don't think he's going to make it to Berlin. But I mean, Berlin's it's a rat race. I don't know. I mean, it's got some beautiful stuff, but I'm not a big city guy. So anyhow, I also wanted to say that Pete is returning from Cancun. He's in the air as we speak. I think he'll be landing in about 30 minutes.
He's high right now?
He's in the sky. He's in the sky. He filmed a movie. He's been filming a movie in Cancun for the last, 2 weeks? And he's exhausted.
It was a Club Dread too?
No, it was Boogie Nights 2.
Oh,
He's
the Electric Boogaloo.
He's
Nice.
Dirk Diggler's son in this new version. His name is Pete Diggler. All right, and then Tack will be back as well tomorrow. He's on a plane back from Brazil. So
From Brazil.
yeah, so everybody's on vacation but us, Brett. Everyone's
Well,
on.
I mean, it's a nice on-site work environment, if you will, for Pete. But
Yeah, he's working, but it's work he enjoys doing. He's just told me he hasn't slept for hours. For days, except for a few hours. So
Rays will keep you up. I know.
absolutely crazy. By the way, what was really funny, and I am not a Mumford and Sons dude. I don't like bands that sing, hey, ho, hey, ho.
No.
Not into that. But the funny thing is he had a debate with Nancy Pelosi
All that too, huh?
on populism, which I don't even think Nancy Pelosi knows what populism is. You couldn't debate a person more hated on the left and the right than Nancy Pelosi. People on the left hate her, people on the right hate her. She's a totally fucking sellout. And yeah, she got crushed in this debate by a guy who's not really a politician. He's a banjo player for Mumford and Sons. Anyhow, it's funny to watch. And then Red Lobster, one of your favorite restaurants. That's a joke.
Place I frequent all the time.
They went bankrupt. So no more Red Lobsters, which is sad because, Red Lobster at one point made seafood affordable for the middle class, right? And even people lower than middle class.
And it's always that stereotypical joke for the small towns. Hey, let's go out for some fancy eating. Let's go to the Red Lobster.
Yeah, I mean, it's fancy for some people, right? But I think a first date, that's probably not going to work for most people, unless it's the only thing in town. If you live in a small town and the only place with seafood's Red Lobster, you're just going to go, if you both love seafood. Well, anyhow,
I can imagine it being a town where the only thing is Red Lobster. I'm sure there's some mom and pops, curbside to go or whatever.
Yeah, but seafood's considered fancier food generally than
only because we're landlocked people here, Derek.
Some hamburger joint or whatever, And
hamburger
lastly,
joint in Florida is pretty fancy.
I like the fact that nobody can figure me out, so I'm getting all these ads coming up. I got the Biden ads on YouTube coming up. I got the Trump ads. I got the Democratic Party. They still have my phone number, so they still call me and ask who I'm going to vote for. It's just crazy times, people. I love that everyone's so damn confused. Well, anyhow, it amuses me. And lots of craziness on X, but you had a bad weekend? Is that what I hear? You had a
go to the turd. Turd's been on the screen for the last 8 minutes.
You know me. I just start ranting and I just lose control. The turd in the background says, "Welcome back to the straight red card. U.S. men's national team roster releases here." And what the fuck? Shaq Moore? Who did he have to blow to get on this roster? Who did my wife blow so I can have this job? Probably.
I think that was a happy coincidence, right? The blowjob came, and then here's the job for your husband. Oh, that's nice.
Well, I did mention that, Shaq Moore is the best nut snuggler, testicular rubber on the team. So, Shafaro Alphonse says, I love that name, by the way. Shafaro Alphonse. That's a badass name. Can't believe Greg used Derek's 8/10 definition describing Geo. Now I'm positive he watches the show.
I'm not lying. I'm not lying. Every week I say that, guys.
I know.
I'm not lying.
I heard him say it, and I thought, that's funny. I just kind of chuckled a little. And but yeah, that's kind of what he does, right? He plays the 10 on offense, but he's responsible for 8 light duties on defense. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
The mighty PT69 says, yeah, we can't say that because I don't know what YouTube thinks of the word, right? I really don't.
It's talking about a number 2 as well as your toes. So
I know. It's like, you're into anal sex, but with your toes, right?
I'm sure there's a Pornhub area for that.
But he's got 69 on there, which is actually confusing because that's his actual sexual act itself, which really you can't accomplish the poo on the toe thing during that, really, unless you're extremely flexible.
Incredibly flexible at that.
Yeah. All right. Europa League final on Wednesday, but that doesn't get Derek's juices flowing. No,
Thanks
not really.
Fun,
Not really.
Well, I mean, who's playing? Who's playing in it?
Yeah, I don't even know. See, there you go.
Yeah.
Is it Leverkusen and didn't Liverpool lose? Aren't they out?
Somebody will have it before I can look it up.
Somebody will put it up there. If it's Leverkusen, those are two really, 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 really great teams, but they're still playing for the smaller trophy of the two trophies between that and Champions League, right? Oh, Atalanta, who've been really fantastic this season in Serie A. So that's tough, man. Atalanta and Leverkusen? Or did Leverkusen lose? I see somebody with a question. Leverkusen and Atalanta. Okay, there we go. Thank you for confirming that. Oh, I'll watch it. I got nothing else to do on Wednesday, right? Unless there's some more Indy 500 practice going on. But the big stuff for qualifying's over for the Indy 500, which was
on top of the poll.
Amazing. The poll is one of the Penske kids, the guy from New Zealand, Mac, and then you got Will Power in second, and then you got my homeboy living in Nashville, Joseph Newgarden in third. There you go. All right. So what else we got?
Will Power.
That's his real name.
So, I'm just saying. Man, if your last name is Power, man, the audacity of your parents to give your first name Will. Come on.
I'm on them. They might have named him William. I don't know.
On purpose. They would have definitely named him William, so he has something to go back on.
Yeah. Fumar, by the way, Dick Trickle is dead, so he won't be racing, and he was a NASCAR guy anyhow, even though there is a NASCAR guy in this race. There's one, Kyle Larson, who I think got in trouble a couple years ago during the whole beer bug thing for using the N-word during a video game that was taped live or recorded live on. So he had to go off and take some classes about how to not be an idiot. And then he came back. And so now he's at the Indy 500. There you go. All right. What else we got?
Which Jalen Neal's mom was talking about how her youngest got called the N-word in the game this past weekend.
No.
Sad.
In the United States, huh?
Yeah. I don't know how young her youngest is. I mean, Jalen's what? 18, 19?
So maybe 15, 16.
Probably somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I didn't read that. I'd like to read up on that a little more. I mean, see what she had to say and what the circumstances were. But there's no ever a good circumstance to use that word, frankly. Period. End of story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this past weekend, hanging out with some friends, playing some cornhole and everything. And toss a bag and wait. Getting ready to toss another bag, and I feel something hit my hat. Not this hat, but a different hat.
Okay.
And I instinctively I looked up at the a second floor of the house, thinking that the kids had opened up a window and were throwing shit out there.
Oh no.
Nope. A bird shat out of my hat.
Oh.
right on the bill. On the bill. I pulled it out. I'm like, motherfucker.
It must have been a big ass bird too to leave that much of a.
It wasn't that big of a splat, but it definitely must have been like a seed in there or something. Hit it.
Did you smell it?
And I tasted it too, Derek. I smell it. Doesn't matter with you.
Grody.
So it's funny because Broken says that's a good omen, Brett, and people are like, "Oh, that's good." Everybody told at the party, I was like, "Hey, that happened. It's a cornhole first." And they're like, "Oh, that's good luck that it happened, actually." And I go, "Well, we did actually win, so."
They have some weird. That's not really good luck. I know there's some other people. I was wearing that.
I agree.
They make up weird stuff about what's good luck. What's the other one? If you're trying to poop and you can only get half of it out, that's good luck. That's not good luck. You want to get it all out.
I never heard that before in my life.
Yeah, that's because I made it up. All right, so what are we doing?
All right, well, we got a couple of fun little videos pulled up here. Let me make sure I get my messages down. I don't want anybody seeing my DMs.
Oh,
sliding
okay.
into the who.
Who's sliding in? Okay.
All right, so first video here.
Mm-hmm. Is this
We've got
soccer related?
no, it's not.
Oh, okay.
We've got a woman who is tasting her first bit of meat in 5 years.
I think I saw this.
So I don't know if that means vegetarian or vegan, but she hadn't tasted meat.
She's gonna have an orgasm, isn't she?
She went to Ruth Chris. What a place,
All
huh? So, like, not like setting that expectation high, and then you go back to O'Charlie's and give her a dry piece of chicken or something like that. Oh, what the hell happened here?
All right, let's see what she does. First bite of meat in 5 years. She smells it like it's a piece of poo. She licks it like it might be poo.
Good?
Stop.
You want me to stop the video?
No, it's so good.
I know.
You've been missing?
5 years, no meat.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Be brutal.
Yeah, that's brutal. Well, I don't know if everyone would react like that. And I don't know whether or not she, because she's been away for 5 years, whether or not her body can even digest that right now. Like it probably will take her a week to get that out of her whole intestinal tract and through the whole poop chute. Because once you don't eat meat for a while, your body isn't used to digesting meat, which takes longer to do than, say, a vegetable or peas or carrots, cooked carrots or soft noodles or whatever, whatever.
Yeah, but now she's going to start getting the amino acids, the enzymes, all that good stuff you get from meat that she wasn't getting prior hand.
I'm sure she's getting plenty of protein, though. All right, what else we got? We got to move this show along, Brett. Because
you're acting like we have a lot of stuff to talk about, Derek. We don't have that much stuff to talk about.
Yes, we do, and you know it. I don't want to be here till midnight.
Speaking of protein, here's an alligator attempting to try to get a bit of protein in his life.
Oh, this is so badass. Oh, this is horrible. Oh, shit. Open that motherfucker's mouth fast. Get the dog out. All right.
Put your fingers down. I didn't show the rest of it.
Oh, man. That's horrible.
God, there was another video, not like this. I mean, obviously, I imagine after you get the dog out and like that, watch out for your fingers, let him snap, and then throw him back in the pond or whatever.
He should have wrung that thing back in by its tail.
There was a video of a guy who would end up getting on top of an alligator. It was a relatively smaller alligator, similar to this, I guess.
Right.
And he had captured him by, grabbed his, jaw like you're supposed to and everything. Like I'm an expert alligator catcher myself. And he carried him over to this retention pond from the road because it was in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the camera, because he must be holding the camera too, and the camera pans over and you just see this alligator fly in the air and then land in the water. It was funny.
Oh, I've seen that one too. Yeah. Well, in this case, you know what makes this guy badass? He never drops his cigar out of his mouth.
I know. That's the first thing I noticed too, right?
He's like, I'm keeping this cigar. I'm not dropping this motherfucker out.
That's like when you fall over and you don't spill a drink of your drink or drip your drink.
Well,
was it my cousin? He played a tiny bit of soccer in his youth, so he's not very soccer-esque.
Mm-hmm.
We're all just kicking a ball around with our nephews and stuff like that. And, he went for this one, and he like rolled off the ball. And as he's falling down, he's got a tumbler of like whiskey, and he's got a cigarette in his hand. And he takes a puff of the cigarette as he's falling down, and then just like completely like crashes into the ground. Doesn't try to break his fall or anything because he didn't want to drop a cigarette or his whiskey.
Got to make sacrifices. I got to tell you, the other thing you got to learn from that video is you don't take your tiny little puppy around a pond in Florida. Okay. Yeah. That's a stupid idea. You keep it on the leash. You need to go near the pond. And I know dogs can run off sometimes and do silly things, but I mean, shit, if you live in Florida, you should just know that those things are everywhere in Florida. So there we go.
Yeah.
All right. Soccer, right? We got
Yep,
soccer.
we're on some soccer topics here.
Yes, soccer.
It's only been 20 minutes.
All
God,
right.
that was a quick 20 minutes.
Yep. That
Ooh,
was
you cannot see that because I can't see that.
Okay. Derek
All right.
Ray.
Yeah.
Okay. Mention Pellegrino Matarazzo is in an earlier tweet interested in what people think, whether or not you consider him the best coach from your country right now. It's undeniable that he's the one operating at the highest level, widely liked, respected in the Bundesliga. And you say, I've been talking about Matarazzo for years, because we have been. Before anybody else on any other podcast, we started talking about Matarazzo. This is going back years now. I don't know how long the show's been going, but that's how long. What are we on, year 3?
We started the February of 2020 is when we resurged.
So like 3.5 years.
Give or take, yeah.
Yeah.
Long, really?
I think he'd be perfect for the U.S. men's national team. I think he would be too, because he does more with less.
Thank you. I didn't respond because you actually responded below saying this is not the platform. Although it is the platform for me, guys, because I am a blue check mark. I have no limit on my characters now.
Yeah, pretty cool. I
don't need that many characters. It's simply say he's a coach who gets results with less. He goes to a club, doesn't have the resources that a lot of clubs have, but he figures out how to make the team work, the players that they have.
Oh, people will go, oh, what about that last team he's with? They almost got relegated. Yeah, but it was his second season, and that team didn't spend dick.
Yeah.
Now, whatever Stuttgart's doing now is amazing. But, you can't use that as the barometer. He basically kept Hoffenheim from being relegated last season, and now they're the top half of the table. Out of nowhere, really. Out of nowhere. And
there was a time in the Bundesliga where they were actually Champions League contenders.
Right. You might want what I brought up with Derek was Derek to Derek, little Derek to Derek conversation. There was Hertzler is soon going to be considered, and then you have the people. He's not really American. Okay, number one, he considers himself American. Okay. Sure. Number two, he has a place in Florida every off season. That's where he lives and stays. And number three, he played on the youth teams, the U.S. men's national team youth teams. I don't know how much more American he needs to be.
Born, played, and lives a part of his year.
I mean, what are the standards? Who gets to decide that? By the way,
yeah.
I don't know. Some people who have a real fucking problem with.
We've had this conversation before, where some countries we're a bit lax when it comes to what classifies somebody as an American citizen. It's like, hey,
you're born
in America, done. If you're born to American parents, done. Simple as that. It's not rocket science. You don't have to, be born in this country and then live here for 5 years and hop on one foot while patting your head.
Suck Gregg's cock. Like, there are none of those stupid rules to be American. So, all right.
So, yeah.
And then I love this guy, this Shant Rao. Why? Why do you think U.S. men's national team what do you think they need in a manager, and how well does he do against the criteria? Hold on.
It's a serious question.
And it's not answerable on Twitter unless you have a blue check.
That's what Derek said there. That's what he said right there. This is even close to the format in which a person can write all that about.
That's like a book. That's seriously like 8 paragraphs. What the United States needs and who's got it is a totally long discussion.
But you could paraphrase it all down to simply saying, I think Matarazzo gets more done with less, and saying that he doesn't take our squad and tries to fit him into the system, and it's taken 6 years. And we're finally playing the system that Berhalter wants to play. And whether or not it's good or bad, it's up to you to decide. And it depends really on each game.
Sure.
But Matarazzo, I think, would come to the United States, look at the players we have, and figure out a system that works for them.
But much like Jesse, he got an interview and he said, yeah, they kind of gave me the runaround. Like, they didn't seem real serious.
And people were talking about that, but it was like Matarazzo got the interview like Patrick Vieira got the interview. It was like a phone call. He's like, I'm not taking this test. You know?
Yeah,
What?
exactly. I'm not taking your dumb test.
I got
for
better things to do with my life. You know who I
7
am.
hours.
Give me a call later.
What a
Yeah.
joke. And by the way, tell Sportsology to fuck itself while you're at it. I think we can say that now. We're 25 minutes in. All right. That's our big first F word.
Yeah.
What else we got?
I think we've been dropping bombs the entire. We're not monetizing it anyways. It doesn't matter, Derek.
No, I've self-monitored my F-bombs the whole time. So I've been saying things like what a fucking idiot. Right?
Sorry, I had the Twitter feed on, and all of a sudden I started hearing myself in the background. So
yeah, you look bewildered, almost like
I was like, "What the hell happened here?"
Like a bird had pooped on you.
Yeah, exactly. But speaking of which, you actually tagged a video to Sushant Oreo, and it's your love letter to Berhalter.
I'm like, if you really want to hear what I think about Berhalter and what he's got to do to fix himself, it's all laid out right there in a video called "My Letter to Gregg Berhalter." All right,
Nice 20-minute solo video of Derek saying you're kind of inadequate.
Right,
you could get better.
But here's the thing: after I sent the link to him, I didn't even watch the video. It asked me to rate my experience with my own video. Did YouTube? So I gave myself a 5 out of 5, of course.
Woo!
But here's the weird thing about the way they ask why you found it valuable. It says heartwarming. Okay, it made me feel warm and fuzzy inside. No,
feel it in your cockles, right?
It's joke. Enjoyable.
In your cockles.
Enjoyable? There's so many things that are mundane in life that are enjoyable. Shouldn't you be asking for deeper? What's the next one? I can't even read it, so small.
Inspiring.
So we want a bunch of idiots on YouTube inspiring people. That's what we need.
You should have checked all of these. I mean, these are life-changing, useful. These are all important. Everybody gets this stuff.
What is this, self-help books? What is this ridiculous shit? It needs to be life-changing and inspiring. What's the thing in the middle?
I mean, you've seen the fishing videos on there with the chicks like in like the thong bikinis and shit like that.
No, you've seen them. I have not.
They're in the, I don't know how they got on the straight red card when I did not. I don't like fishing. There's no way in hell I'd go down that path.
Better check with your son.
Yeah, that's very possible actually. But I mean, if that video is like. What would you select? Was it heartwarming? Well, I mean, something got a little warm, you know. Was it enjoyable? Absolutely enjoyable.
What's the thing in the middle between life-changing and inspiring? I can't read it.
Useful. It's useful.
Okay, I like that because, yes, sometimes when I got to fix something, I go on YouTube. It tells me how to fix it. I tell
that to people all the time. They're like, hey, how do I do this? And if I can't figure it out, I'm like, just go on YouTube.
And then the other categories are informative, which is fine. I like that one. Calming. What is it someone's job to put YouTube videos up that are calming?
I think the former naked yoga is probably pretty calming.
Okay, that's fine, but they took it off. There is no more naked yoga on YouTube. And now, what's the shit that's missing here? Really, funny would be one. Funny. Like, why is not funny on here? Or entertaining.
There are no negative ones on here. Like, please tell us more. Oh, it was whatever. It was horrible. It was offensive. You know.
Well, then you just give it a 1 and don't click on any of the boxes, I guess. But there's so many more categories they could put on here. Like, I guess if you do a history channel, it could be informative. You know, maybe they could use other words like eye-opening or whatever. But, you know, they're not interested in funny because funny can be on the edge and funny could be bad in their eyes. So, you know, they want pretty much just harmless shit, basically. They want guys walking around eating pizzas and giving them ratings. That's what they like. Or guys with cooking shows. They love that. Or apparently people who eat sardines and anchovies out of cans. They've got like 1 million fucking subscribers. And that's all he does. He goes to fucking Walmart, buys a can of whatever anchovies or sardines and eats them live on his. He's got 1 million followers. It's insane.
I feel like we're doing this wrong.
Yes, we are doing it wrong. We are doing this very wrong. We should be eating bugs and crickets and chocolate chocolate ants. And this show,
I feel like it says more about everybody else than us.
Yeah, you're right. It does.
So, Derek, you being on Twitter kind of opens door to a lot of fun interactions between you and random people. Or
I've had some fun.
Not even you and random people. Sometimes it's you and very popular accounts.
That's true.
So here we have U.S. men's national team prospects who we've had not on the show, but
we featured
via Twitter. We've had him on the show a number of times,
right?
Because let's see, you can convince me he's a backup right back for the Olympic team, and he's talking about Jake Davis with an absolute screamer. I mean, it was a rip and a half. First,
it's a great shot.
Great shot.
First we've ever heard of Jake Davis. So please,
yeah, that could be on us for that matter. But even from the youth, even from the youth teams, I'm just saying I've never actually heard of him. So this may be a kid that kind of fell between the cracks, never really got this sought out, or maybe this was just one hell of a screamer. This might be just one hell of a screamer, and that's it.
I mean, we've all hit screamers before.
Yeah.
If you played the game at least once. So, I mean, you can't take this and then go, oh, he's probably going to make the Olympic team. That's ridiculous.
He's a backup right back.
Right. And so really? I said to him, are we breaking out the lube? Because to me, and I added you because, I thought this was this is just like, again, taking a young player who has a great moment and then saying, oh, now he should be considered for the Olympics. Really? What does his resume look like?
He's playing for Sporting Kansas City, Derek, and he scored a hell of a goal.
That's it was a hell of a goal. I'm just saying, what else has he done? List them all his other credentials for making the Olympic team. Because I can tell you what, that Olympic team is pretty much full already. Like, we pretty much already know who's going to make the team. It's most of the guys that didn't make this team that just came out today.
And last show, we even talked about a comment on Twitter that Brian Schreier made about Diego Luna and how he may not even be a guaranteed lock.
Exactly.
Squad. People lost their ever-loving mind.
But he's right.
Well, yeah, when he broke down all of the possible options for those 6 spots, and you're really just looking at 4 spots because you're looking at wing and depth at that point. Because you're not looking at the striker.
18 total spots, too. Very small team for the Olympics.
So I mean, it's one of those things where you're like, okay, let's a little hyperbolic argument here going on. Let's just get a little crazy,
But apparently this guy's also a prude, U.S. men's national team prospects, because he wrote me and said, why are you always making off-color and inappropriate jokes in response to my tweets about the success of soccer players? Has to be the 3rd or 4th time you made some joke to this effect. Because you blow things out of proportion is what I should have said. But really, what I just told him is, hey, man, it concerns the segment we do. It's not an offense to you, but it means we're covering it on the show in our comical fashion. Now, this guy's such a prude. He thinks bringing up the word lube, that's offensive to him. Inappropriate jokes, lube. I don't know what he does with lube, but I know I used to put in my car to drive places. I go to Lube Oil for my oil change. I don't know. He's got the dirty mind, not me. He must use lube for some sick things in his spare time. All right. Anyhow,
probably, maybe, who knows? Quit
being a prude, which is what I told him later on.
Yeah, I mean, what it sounds like is it sounds like somebody who just doesn't know who we are. And some people have come to quote unquote our defense. If you will.
Did. They told him,
"Guy, calm down a bit."
He's joking. This is just what they do. Calm down. Break out a bucket of lube and calm down. Smoke some weed. Go. Whack one out. Yeah. All right.
Johnny says Larry is a prude.
I don't know. He just had a kid.
I don't know, man. He definitely. No, Larry's definitely not a prude, man. He's talked about how you whacked it off to Man Bun Zimmerman for years.
He's just projecting. All right, what else we got?
Hot take after hot take. That's what we got, Derek. Right now, we got Gideon Zelalem is the most underrated American midfielder.
I really hope that this is count as a joke, but it isn't. I don't think. This guy loves him some Gideon Zelalem more than I ever loved.
I say he's you what 2 years ago,
4 years ago, 5 years
Four?
ago.
Yeah.
No, longer than that. 10 years ago.
It couldn't be that long.
Yes, I've been watching him since he was in the
Ooh, careful what you say there.
U23s, U20, I don't remember. But he was a young player for the U23s.
Sorry, fair enough. I forgot how old he is. He is 27 years old. So yeah, it very well could have been 10 years ago.
Right, but he says Gideon Zelalem is the most underrated American midfielder playing in the second pub division in Holland. He was a standout performer for Den Bosch, which was the worst or second worst team in the in Division 2, and now they've been relegated to Division 3, which is basically Pub League 3 in the Netherlands, as he captained the side several times. Doesn't mention he was injured for a third of the season either. Expecting an exciting move this summer. Well, you can expect it all you want, but I put that dick back in your pants because it ain't happening.
An exciting, yeah, right.
Jesus,
I don't know. Yeah, if this was 10 years ago, then yes, he might have it. He might have a case, right? Because I mean, although he wasn't underrated back then, he was very much rated.
Oh, he was great. He was at Arsenal.
I wouldn't say overrated, but he was definitely rated.
But he had massive knee injuries. He's never come back from it. Even this season, he had to deal with more of them. So, yeah, this kid is never going to be back to what he was and be able to make all the sharp cuts he used to make, because he's even said it himself. Zelalem has said, every time I make a cut, it's been 3 years since my last surgery, and I still think about my ACL. So, it's tough, and it's not his fault, right? Some people are born with ACLs that are like spaghetti, and they just pop. And so, and then he has the gall to say, thread below a video highlights from the season that are 2 minutes long. From the whole season, you could find 2 minutes worth of highlights, and in not one of them does he actually provide a pass for an assist or a goal. I mean, what's going on here?
Well, I mean, he posts a couple of videos though.
Oh, I didn't see those. Okay.
3 different videos. It's like 6 minutes of highlights right there, Derek.
All right, I'll give him a pass. But man, his whole pages. I like it. Back in February, he said, "I'm not posting again until Zelalem scores."
I love the effects that were thrown into here to draw your attention to him too.
Yeah. So he said he wasn't going to post again until Zelalem scored. That was in February. Zelalem's never scored, but he broke his rule and kept posting anyhow. So
of course.
He hasn't scored since February.
If your account is based off of standing, and again, I'm hoping it's kind of a parody, but if it's not, what a strange parody to do anyway. Somebody that most U.S. fans probably aren't even aware of. And
it's cruel because his career was ruined by injuries. So why are you mocking this guy? Seriously, he's not like he's Sebastian Soto and just fucks up his
own life, right?
Wherever he goes, his manager thinks he's a dick.
Not Odasawi,
but yeah, right. Or Odasawi, who screwed himself, or Freddie Adu, he had injuries that were really serious. Speaking of which, by the way, Sebastian Soto did start his first game of the season, in the last game of the season, for Klagenfurt. And they lost. They lost.
They lost.
But he played 72 minutes. That's the most he's ever played in, 3 seasons? So it's a start. At least he can lay back in the morning and open his window and look out his window and see a lake in the Alps. So I guess that's got to comfort him at some level.
I guess before we get too far, do you want to just go ahead, since you've already kind of started, do you want to hammer out the Yanks abroad portion?
Yeah, let's do it. So on Saturday, Brendan Aaronson was dark, Brendan, again.
Dark Brendan!
Had an assist in the game, went 80 minutes as he and Union Berlin survive, stay up. What?
But
what?
Union Berlin says bye to Brendan Aaronson.
It's not shocking. His loan is over. All these people are like,
they didn't want to buy him, Derek, right?
All these people who have no context that are like, oh, well, they're not really interested in having him. They didn't want to buy him. They're not going to buy him. Have you seen his buy clause? His buy clause is like $12 million. Of
Yeah.
course, they're not going to buy him. That's ridiculous.
Well, I said when that came out, I said that from the get go. I'm like, nobody's going to pay $12 million for him.
No way.
He's going to sit Leeds bench and be utilized as a potential sub in case of injuries or he goes out on loan again because nobody's going to pay $12 million for him.
Fireworks would have to shoot out of his ass, and he would have to score 10, 15 goals this season. Then maybe they would have considered paying him that, but no way you're paying $12 million for Brendan Aaronson. It's just not happening. So of course they're going to take advantage of the loan, and maybe if they can get him back on loan, because the fans and the supporters seem to want to have Brendan back. But yeah,
if you're going to pick any time of the year to really shine, the end of the year when you're staving off relegation, that's the time to shine if you really want to endear yourself to the fans. It doesn't really matter what happened in the last 2/3 of the season.
Right. Well, okay, couple things. One, he got a more offensive role the more he played this season instead of midfield role. In fact, he started the last game as a sort of false 9/actual 9. And then 6 out of the last 7 games, as you just mentioned, he was Dark Brendan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the player we've all been waiting for. Where was this guy? Where was this guy?
I mean, I know Leeds fans are saying, well, we don't want him back. We don't want him back. Even Leeds are saying, hey, we're willing to sell him. But, having a Dark Brendan come off the bench for you guys.
Yeah, I think he burned the bridge, though.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of Leeds fans who are like, yeah, fuck that guy. He left us.
It would take a lot to rebuild anything there. Even then, a lot of people would still be bitching about it.
He'd probably have to go to some big club in Leeds and suck at least 4,000 dicks to get back on their good sides. I'm just saying that's what it would take. That's what it would take, because otherwise they don't want him back. Even Joe and what's his face don't want him back. The 2 guys we watch and no. All right.
You bring up Joe. Do you want to jump into the Joe video real quick?
Well, I was doing Yanks abroad. You want to?
Well, okay. Well, I guess we'll wait till we get to Leeds and Norwich.
I mean, we had to talk about Brendan in the end of the season. Timmy Chandler was on the 18 for Frankfurt. Paredes got a goal in their loss. He went 45. They ended the Wolfsburg in 12th. That is a bad season for Wolfsburg. So things are going to change there in some way or another. John Brooks ended the season riding by. Was a starter.
Like the last 6 or 7 games.
Yeah, it's so weird because he was a starter and he'd take an occasional game off. And then by the end of the season, Materazzi's just like, I want to go with the younger guys. And he did. And it worked for him. So I get it. And once things work, you leave it be. And so Brooks is gone. I'm pretty sure he's going to move on. I don't think he's going to stay at Hoffenheim. Pifak got 80. Scally was in the 18, which is not good when you're, end of the season and you don't even play. If you're Scally, you got to be like, man, come on. I got to go play Copa America. And you just basically...
He better be coming to Copa, balling out.
You're sending out messages that I'm not a starter. What the hell's going on? And then Pifak, man, it started out great, and that season just flopped for him after that. Anyhow, they ended 14th. That's also really bad for Gladbach, but that's what they get for firing Farke. Really, honestly, that's what they get.
Sure, Leeds were happy.
The grass is not always greener. Okay, they went out and got somebody else, and then somebody else, and then because Farke didn't do a good enough job. Well, he did better than this. I could tell you that much.
Do you think there's any form of irony when Leeds under Farke ends up beating Norwich, who Farke used to manage?
Yeah, there's all kinds of twisted shit there between Wagner and of course the history between Farke and Wagner because they flip-flop jobs and but bringing that up, Wagner got fired. Talking about grass is always greener on the other side. Well, good luck, Norwich, finding up Norwich. Sorry. In 1832, they stopped pronouncing the R in Norwich. I'm supposed to not pronounce it anymore.
I think we talked about this last week, but that's insane. That was a decision made off of emotion. And I understand the emotions running high after getting curb stomped. But come on.
But they had to pull off their best player at halftime.
Yeah.
Sargent was injured. They pulled him off. He got an MRI. Thank God it's not serious. But when you can't even play your best player, I mean, what do you expect? They got curb stomped. But that, you're going to look at the whole season. He got you to the playoffs, and you're going to just throw Wagner out. That's ridiculous. Anyhow, it's their life. I don't know who they're going to hire. Big Sam? Is that the next solution for Norwich?
Just recycling. It's like MLS, right? Coach gets fired, he just recycles to another MLS side.
Yeah. Yep.
Same thing.
I don't know where Wagner's going to go. They let him go at Schalke real fast. He had that stint in Switzerland that ended quickly because, the team he was at was usually in first. And then while he was there, they actually started losing a few games. They're like, you're out. So I don't know what David Wagner's going to do next. Obviously,
MLS.
Not going to be considered for the U.S. men's national team anytime soon, even though his experiences in both the championship and the Premier League, keeping his newly promoted team up, that's something Gregg's never done for certain. Marsh can say he kept the team up, I guess, in the Premier League first season, but he didn't have as long to do it. And it's not like he brought Leeds out of the championship to the Premier League. So different situations. All right. Maloney went 90 in a win. We will get to Maloney later. They ended up finishing 8th in Heidenheim in the season. Bestie is a badass. I wish she played for us. He's a great player. I don't know if Heidenheim will be able to hold on to Bestie. But Musah, 77, Pulisic, 90, and just a kind of end of the season flop.
Massive, yeah, big flop.
Massive, air out of the balloon, losing game to Torino, but they do end in second, so they're going to the Champions League, and that's what counts, I guess. Reynolds, 90, Yao, 90 in and loss. Again, kind of air out of the balloon at the end of the season for Westerlo. Marlon Fossey's back from injury fully, went to full 90 for Standard Liège. They lost. Your homeboy Alex Mendez got 17 as they close out the season at Vizela. They ended in 17th. They are relegated. So where does Mendez go now is the question. Because
he had interest in Mexico last couple windows, so he may just be there.
I mean, it's better than riding Pine, which is what he did 85% of the season in Portugal. And Vizela's the worst team, and he couldn't even get on the starting 11 on the worst team in Portugal. That's not good. CCV was in the 18 on Saturday. I guess they're resting him. Damian Downs, I forgot to mention him because he's was on Köln, also known as Cologne for you more American motherfuckers. He was on Köln, and they lost against Heidenheim in that game. Damian Downs came in for the last 45, so he's getting relegated and sent back to Bundesliga. On Sunday, Turner Arena sat the Pine for Nottingham Forest, did not play. Tyler Adams did not dress. We'll get to that. Chris Richards, 90 minutes and a win for Crystal Palace, who ended the season with firecrackers blown all over out of their butthole, out of their dick holes. It was amazing. They did they really finished the season strong. Trusty, 90 minutes and a loss. Ream, 90 minutes. So it's kind of like Ream's goodbye game, I think. I think we're going to see Ream end up at one of the newly promoted teams, playing center back for them and being a mentor to that team. One of those newly promoted teams, we will see. And then Jedi got the 78. It was a good, solid 78 for him. It was a good, solid game, and at least they ended the season on a positive in that win. And then we got Balogun with 84 minutes and a win. And what you're really looking for with Balogun most of the time is either assists or goals. Didn't get any in this game. Reports are, though, he played pretty well or he wasn't bad. So that's good news. I didn't get to see it. We don't get the French league. You're gonna say something? I don't know.
We'll talk about the French league here in a second, too.
Okay. Baguettes. Sabi, 23 minutes and loss. They did survive the relegation zone, so they ended up in 15th. Did Le Havre. And then Cardoso, 90 minutes and a loss. Kind of a depressing way to end the season for Real Betis. Luca De La Torre played 45 minutes, got yanked at halftime. This new manager doesn't seem to really fancy Luca De La Torre, so he might want to start looking now, but at least they were very far clear relegation this season at the end of the season in 14th. Taylor Booth still not back to himself. It's going to take longer to get back from that next injury he had after having the injury before. So we'll see what happens, but 72 minutes in a tie. Zach Booth, 17 minutes in a loss for Volendam. They are relegated. Volendam is relegated. We'll see what Zach does. Well, he's going back to Leicester, right? Zach Booth. He's a
yeah, he would be, yeah.
He'd be back to their youth team. Anthony Fontana in the 18 for Zwolle did not play. That's pretty much his whole season there in Holland. And then we got Malik Tillman with 68 and a win, Pepe 22 and a win. Say, of course, he won. They're all on the same team. But here's the interesting thing. Richie Ledesma got 5 minutes at the end of the game. I mean, what are you going to judge off 5 minutes, right? But I don't know
it's still a promising end to the season, though.
I don't know what that means. Why?
But he's
I don't
still.
know.
I look at that going like, well, he's still in the picture. I mean, he may not necessarily be a key role player by any means, but he's still in the picture at PSV, and we'll see what happens.
You think so? I don't know.
Why else would he be in the 18 given bit minutes? I mean,
but then his loan to MLS sucked. You know,
I don't disagree with you on that.
I mean, it wasn't great. So we'll see what happens with Richie. I hope it's not one of those things where, you know, the injuries were just too overwhelming to overcome.
The number of injuries he's had, absolutely. I would not be surprised if that was the case. But he's back. I mean, he's back at PSV, and he got a handful of games there at the end where he was on the 18.
There you go. I thought you meant he played. I'm like, no, he didn't.
No, he didn't. No. No, I was surprised he said he got 5 minutes there at the end.
He played for the 2 team once. Yeah. So I thought, geez, play him on the 2 team. At least he's playing. Don't let him ride pine on the first team. But, you know, he got to practice with the first team. So maybe that's the benefit there.
So, like I said, I mean, all that tells me is that I think there's still interest there with PSV. I mean, why even give him the time of day otherwise?
Well, Ernie's there, right? Ernie's gonna.
I don't know if that would be a hill to die on that front.
No, but I think Ernie will. He's probably gonna give Richie more time because he's an fellow American. I don't know, or maybe Ernie's a cutthroat motherfucker. I don't know.
Well, we heard from Winalda talking about how Ernie set McBride up as a fall guy, so. Could be pretty cutthroat. He could be soccer business savvy, if you will.
But you'll never hear that come out of McBride's mouth because he's a shill. All right, for U.S. Soccer. All right.
I guess we'll get to that.
I hate saying that because, listen, we're the same age. We played soccer at the same time, did McBride and I. We kind of crossed paths at a tournament at one point, a regional tournament. And I mean, he was way better than I was because he was 6'1", 6'2". I was at the time, what would I have been? 5'10" and a half, 5'11". I mean, he looked taller than me, but he was a more bigger physical presence. I was a skinny little shit. You wouldn't know that looking at me today. And then Paxton Aaronson, 90 minutes in a tie for Vitesse. They are relegated. They finished last. Wasn't Paxton's fault, obviously. Nothing to do with Paxton. They actually did better while he was there. They got a win.
Well, he's back off to Frankfurt, though. So
yes, he is. So we'll see. I would think that maybe Frankfurt might loan him out to probably not another team in the Bundesliga, but maybe a better team. Other teams in Holland might have gone, wow, that kid was good. We need him on our team. Like if you're mid-table Zwolle or, you know, go ahead Eagles. Yay. You know, maybe they're going, you know, we could use a kid like that. And maybe another loan spell. Bello went 90 in a massive destruction, like Salzburg smashed Lask, like 7-0, 6-0. It was a smashing. Sebastian Soda went 72, as we mentioned earlier, for Klagenfurt. Johan Gomez went 90 for Braunschweig. And here's the weird thing: they managed to stay up. They finished 15th in 2 Bundesliga, but he played center holding midfielder like he's been a center forward all season. It was a weird setup, but they managed to survive. Julian Green came back from injury and got the last 2 minutes for Greuther Fürth. Maximilian Dietz. It's like Green and Dietz are taking turns being injured. Dietz is now injured.
That sucks.
Yeah, Fabian Hertzler won. Obviously, they'd already clinched. St. Pauli did last week. First place, they'll be moving up to Bundesliga. It'll be exciting to see Fabian and see who they sign in the offseason to bolster the club. I would think they're probably going to spend maybe on 3 or 4 players. They don't have a gigantic, huge bank account there at St. Pauli, although they do have an odd worldly support at St. Pauli, maybe because they're a sponsored or they're kind of, it's the same place where the beer's made, St. Pauli beer.
There's a portion of the BYB that was really
St.
Pauli.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was the Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
no. The book by Vonnegut. Oh shit.
You're right with Fahrenheit. It's Fahrenheit or something.
Man,
whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay, I thought I was confusing it with another book. Anyhow, it doesn't matter. Okay, but they mess with the numbers. What I'm saying, they changed the number.
Yeah,
like their number's not the same as the book, is what I'm saying.
Sure.
All right. Like they fucked around with the number from the book. All right, and then we had Zendejas 90 in a win over K. Cal's Chivas. Cal went 45 in that loss. Cal, man, he's struggling to get minutes.
Apparently, Chivas fans are not hitting home with him anymore.
Man, they loved him those first few games.
Mm-hmm.
And then Conrad got 45 for Ibar in the loss. He got the last 45. Yeah, rough season for him.
No, I heard it was good though.
Yeah, one person said, "Man, it's good, man. You got to look on the positive side." No, when you don't play 90% of the minutes in a season,
90.
You don't play 90% of the minutes in a season, that's a bad season. If you're a guy like Conrad, coming from Barcelona, coming from, high bloated places where people expect big things from you, and you go to a second division team in Spain, and they're like, "Nah, we ain't playing you." And they don't play you almost all season except for the end of the season. They're throwing you in a few games at the end. It's not good. It's not good.
No, that was Al's argument for against Pepe in the sense, because everybody's like, look at the goals per 90. Look at the goals per 90. He's not playing that off, but he's scoring goals. And that's kind of Al's point. Is like he doesn't play much, and he should be playing more. He's that good.
Okay, but Pepe is behind De Jong.
Fair enough.
Pepe plays for PSV, the best team in Holland. So Pepe, yeah, he's got De Jong in front of him, and he plays for the best team PSV in Holland. So Conrad doesn't have those excuses. He plays for one of the worst teams in the Segunda.
That's fair enough on that, yeah.
Worst teams in the Segunda, and he can't start in a second division league in Spain. Come on. It's not comparable. It's not comparable. I'm here, and Derek likes Liz Warren, and Pepe sucks. I'm not a big fan of anybody who lies about their backgrounds. So no. And Pepe sucks, and Tessman played today. I missed that. God damn it. I knew I should have checked when I got home. How did Tessman do? Anybody want to tell us? Pepe does not suck, by the way. But
they won 1-0 on the first leg of the semi against Palermo.
Wow. So it's Lund versus Busio and Tessman.
Let's see. I'm pulling it up.
I didn't get to do Monday. It's too late when I got there. So I'm sure all three of them played. They're all starters. And Lund doesn't come off anymore like he used to earlier in the season. He plays the full 90 these days.
Okay, let's see. Lineup. So he had a 7 rating on FootMob. Which, when looking at it, looks like he's being average on the game compared to the rest of his teammates. But I mean, it's 7 still.
Yeah, always take
FootMob.
Always take FootMob with like 6 teaspoons full of salt.
Yeah. All
right.
The mental deity is saying Lund hurt his hamstring.
Well, apparently not that bad because he was named today on the team. Oh boy, I hope it's not bad. Then we got to bring Trusty in, right? Because Trusty's played left back for Sheffield this season at least 5 times. And then, the rest of the time he played left center back or center back. I don't know what's going to happen. You could bring in Fosse. You could bring in... No, Greg doesn't even know who Fosse is. Who am I kidding? Like, the words Marlon Fosse have never come out of Greg's mouth. But then they've never come out of the press's mouth either. So how is Greg going to know that Fosse exists if the media doesn't know he exists? All right, that's the report, Brett. MLS standouts. Matt Miazga scored an own goal. For Cincinnati.
A really nice own goal, too.
Yes, it's beautiful. Jack McGlynn got an assist. Cameron Harper, this is a couple games in a row now for New York Red Bulls, getting assists and goals. And remember, he was another one of the wonder kids, Cameron Harper, that people used to talk about, especially when he went off to Celtic. And they were like, oh, he's a wonder kid. So maybe he's starting to live up to that. He's still young. George Campbell, another one of those center back wonder kids, used to be in Atlanta. Now Montreal got an assist. Jalsis Artis, an assist as well. Jacob Davis, we mentioned him earlier, with a banger and a goal for SKC. Christian Ramirez with a goal for the Crew. Daniel Steris, an assist for Houston. Brian Kamungo, an assist for Dallas. Taylor, an assist for Minnesota. I'd never heard of the guy before. And then Diego Luna, an assist for RSL. Cole Bassett with a goal for the Rapids. Your boy Mihailovic got a goal for the Rapids too. So he's really turned his season around after that first game of the season, which was atrocious. And then
I think all of Colorado has in that sense.
Orlando's already starting to test the backup to Maguire. They played Jack Lynn, who is a prospect and a youngster. He got a goal for Orlando. He came in for Maguire because I think they think Maguire's going. The summer.
There's already talks. There's already talks. Was it Blackburn, right?
Was Blackburn, and now it's somebody else.
Still talks that Blackburn's reaching back out, but
Poland, a team in Poland, Legia Warsaw, excuse me, or Legia. What was it? Anyhow, doesn't matter. Don't go to Poland. Go back. Play in the championship. It's championship. Oh well. We'll see.
No, stay in them less if your options are Poland.
Yeah, Poland's not really a pop-up, Jordan Morris, a goal for Seattle. Not a whole lot of those for Jordan Morris these days. So good for.
Remember last season when he got like 4 goals in one game, and people were like really trying to build up a case that he should be back with the national team.
He scored a few in a bunch of games at the beginning, and then he faded out.
Yeah,
I still think he looks like Charlie Brown. All right. There we go. That is the Yanks Abroad Weekend Report. There we go. Am I saying something wrong with Maguire and Orlando? Somebody said Maguire?
No, somebody said he got injured.
Oh, Maguire got injured.
Yeah. John asked Maguire with a question mark, but I'm sure that's in question mark to maybe getting injured, or maybe he's trying to figure out who Maguire was.
Oh, he plays for Orlando. He almost went to Blackburn in the last transfer window, except for they picked up his paperwork.
He played a half in the last Camp Cupcake.
He's one of the Americans in MLS who actually scored goals last season. He's very lowly rated by Pete.
Along with Brian White.
Although you don't really need to be smashing technical crazy man to be a great center forward. We have said this before. Just ask Brian McBride. Although Brian was good at hold-up play. So you got to be good at something, though. Got to be good at something. You can't be just good at poaching. I mean, a lot of players have made their claim to fame, and that's all they could do in the Premier League, or the early years before the Premier League in England, just being poachers. So you can pull that off, but you better be damn good at poaching to pull that off. And Maguire can run between lanes too. He's no slowpoke. We got to see him at a higher level and see how he adapts to that. Leverdad at 199 says, will you do Europe end of season awards for our guys. We usually do that at the end of the year. Those are called the what do we call them?
Turdies.
The Turdies. I mean, we already did one where we graded all the players, Leverdad, but we could. I'll talk with Brett. Brett will talk with me and see if we could do that. And if we want to put together another award show mid-season here or mid-year and cover that. I mean, it's going to be mid-year. Why not? I guess, but we got so much stuff to cover though, too, coming up. We got the friendlies coming up. Then we got Copa America coming up. I mean, shit.
We got Olympics.
There's so much excitement. There's going to be jizz all over the walls. So there'll be probably a little time to do an extra show.
Do you hear the U15s won their European trip? Whatever cup or whatever it was.
Was that today?
Well, it was announced that they beat Japan, I think, 2-1 today or yesterday. And that basically solidified that they won whatever cup or whatever it was, window.
It's always good. That's always positive because obviously Japan are a rising power in the sport.
Just like the sun.
Beating them is great. Just like what?
It's just like the sun.
Oh, you mean their old flag?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So not to get into World War II history and after. What else we got here?
We got a video here.
Oh, it's our friend Joe.
The Leeds fan.
Yeah, it's our buddy Joe. I like Joe a lot.
So you said it was at the 22nd marker, so I'm starting there.
Yeah, okay, so this is about Josh Sargent. And get this, after all the Americano hate at Leeds, who do the Leeds want to sign if they go up next season or even if they don't? Well, we're going to Thomas Powell. Thank you so much for the $20. That is very generous. We do appreciate it. We love all the super chat people. Just don't give if you can't afford it. If you can't afford it, don't do it. But if you can't afford it, we deeply appreciate it. It helps us pay for equipment, new computers, new mics, all that shit. And believe me,
if you can't afford it, then the best thing you can do at that point would be to share the show. Get it out there.
I mean, we bought, what was the big one we bought? The expensive editing equipment, editing software. Anyhow, it doesn't matter. It was expensive. Let's just put it that way. So we can put together.
We just got this giant black box we still need to utilize.
Right. Well, and then my sex doll was at least $1,000.
It's got to be the good one, man. Why else do it?
Right. All right. So we appreciate it, Thomas. So this is Joe talking about signing another American at Leeds, which I don't know if that's a good idea, but okay, here we go.
The comment section seemed to be hit and miss. It was like some people like, I really like the kid. He did great in championship. And other people are like, no, he's a championship player. He's not a Premier League player. We need somebody else.
Yeah. Here's what Joe said.
But we need the Premier League. But we're here today to talk about our semi-final opponents and one striker that Leeds United have been linked to. Now, don't switch off. I hear it. Josh Sargent, I myself have been quite scathing about the player over, the last few years. But when you actually look at would he suit Daniel Farke and what he's trying to do, would he be a better option than what we already have at the football club?
Plus, Farke has already got experience with Sargent.
Oh, yeah. He knows him really well.
Already knows him, yeah.
I mean, he didn't play him at center forward because he had Pookie, but, hey.
He played a couple games there.
Yeah.
And, a couple goals in those games, too. So
he played second striker under Farke, too. So, I mean, Farke, yep.
Say yes. If Leeds United do get promoted, is Josh Sargent the man to score the goals in the Premier League? History would tell us no. But we have to factor in this guy is still only 24. He's still yet to hit his peak. And if you look at his trajectory, I know it's the Championship, but he's scoring goals and providing assists, and their numbers are increasing in less amount of goals, right? Well,
not only that, but he dubbed by both coach and by Barnes the best player on the pitch.
Best player on the team, yeah.
Yeah.
I know Johnny doesn't think so, but
Well, I mean, it's he's either going to get interest from a recently promoted team, or he's going to go hopefully back to like Bundesliga. I'm hoping he goes back to Bundesliga, to tell you the truth.
But let's be fair, when Johnny has an opinion sometimes, it's really because he's had a past relationship with the player, like PFOC. It's personal for him. because the nuts have been in his mouth. All right. So anyhow, that's what he always accuses us of. So I'm just giving him a little back of his own taste of his own medicine.
Oh, are you talking about Johnny in the chat?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
This
there we
is
go.
Joe. This is Joe.
I
not
got
Johnny.
you, yeah.
Yeah. So he accuses him of having, Sargent's hairy red nuts in her mouth. Well, I mean, it's much tougher job to have P-Fox sack in your mouth. I can tell you that. He's a larger mammal. Larger mammal. All right, what do you got?
Yeah, I don't think we need to continue on that. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That apparently Sargent is linked
to
Leeds. Whether or not there's merit behind there. Like I said, Farkas got experience.
Sounds serious. Serious.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's considering him.
No, because of Farka. It makes absolute sense. Now, yeah, right. The comment section was up and down. It was like, oh, he's not really a Premier League player. Well, you're not in the Premier League yet. So
it was the same issue that we had a couple weeks back when they're talking about Sargent, and they're looking at not him, but they're looking at his Premier League performance. I'm like, oh, look at how he didn't do that great with Norwich when they're in the Premier League. Why would we want him now? Like, he's a different player now, guys.
I haven't looked, but I know I haven't looked at the chat much, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But I love Jack's. True. P-Fox is a bigger mammal. However, some bigger mammals have small cocks and balls. Okay.
That's Blue Whale, man. Blue Whale's
but P-Fox, yeah. P-Fox is not just some mammal, he's a human. All right, so here we go. Here's a full recap of the squad updates announced by the team. Returning, I think is what you wanted to get to, is John Tompkinson returning from loan in the League One?
League Two.
League Two. Ew.
But he was a consistent 90-minute player out there, which one would hope so, right?
Right. Do we know that for a fact? I mean, I've missed
what that he was.
Yeah,
I went and looked at it. He was pretty consistent 90-minute.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So, but it was brought to my attention that his contract is expiring next month. So he's returning, but he'd be returning as a free agent at that point. He's dirt cheap. His market value is like $225,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Norwich re-signs him and then goes from there, because he's dirt cheap. He's backup.
He was one of those players a couple of years ago that people were looking forward to as an Olympic player for this round, because he fits the age, right? So, but I mean, when you got Max Dietz, he's already played for the Olympic team. You got Jalen Neal if he's healthy.
Tompkinson played for the Olympic team as well. He came in a window.
Yes, that's why I said. That's why he's been considered.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But I don't know if that's the case now. I think dropping down all the way to League Two and not, necessarily being a dominating force in League Two, from what I understand, that doesn't help you, right? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he was fine, but I don't think anyone's watching League Two games.
Yeah.
So we're the eyeballs for that.
The positive behind that loan is that he got consistent playing time, and that's what you kind of need as a youth player developing. Hopefully, at this point, since the loan is over, he's returning to Norwich. Hopefully, he can get an extension to his contract and either contend or get loaned back out, but hopefully not to a League Two team.
He should have played for Wrexham.
Might as well have, yeah.
That would have got you some eyeballs.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you're going to take a loan, go to Wrexham. All right. How expensive do you think Sargent's going to be? Good question, BMR. I think he'll probably cost.
His value right now is 12 mil. Whether
that's about right. That's about what I think that they're going to ask for him, honestly. But again, Norwich are running out. So they've already gone through their EPL payout money. They're done. Okay. Next season, Norwich has got no more extra parachute payments coming from EPL. They're going to have to sell. There's no way around it. And maybe that's why they got rid of Wagner too, because some of the new rules obviously are going to be, it's how much you pay the whole organization, including your manager, not just your players, the new cap, right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
That they're talking about. So they're like, well, we can't afford Wagner. We can't afford Sargent. They certainly cannot afford Sainz the way he played this season. He's got to go. They're going to have to sell that kid. He's going to be playing in the Premier League next season. No doubt about it. So they're going to lose some guys. And maybe that's why they're just, throwing guys overboard constantly. So, or they're going to have to. Christ fucker for $2. I don't know what CS stands for. I don't know. That's probably really sacrilegious. That's probably horrible.
Of course it is.
Or I could have said cockfucker. That would have
just
been
said
good
Chris. You'd have to say.
I don't know what is Chris Fierstein. Is that his name? All right, for $2. I'm just joking around. How you guys feel about Tack saying Hoppy to Wrexham? Listen, at this point, Hoppy should take whatever he can get because it's been a miserable 3 seasons. Absolutely, the last 2.5, 3 seasons have been horrible.
It's been since he left Schalke.
It's to the
bad.
It's to the point that I feel bad even reaching out to the family anymore because I feel like what's there to talk about, but not good stuff, So yeah, I feel bad for the kid. He's a great kid. He's a fucking fighter on the field, and I think he's misread. I think that people take his attitude and make that out to be like he's some rotten kid who's just a nasty person. No, he's actually a really nice kid off the pitch, but on the pitch.
It's just fascinating having watched him play in that Gold Cup and how he can't find playing time consistently anywhere.
That is a great example of Hoppy on the pitch, coming off of it in that case. He said, "What? You taking me off?" to Gregg.
Yeah.
And Gregg said, "Sit the down," right? So, yeah, he's a fiery guy. Remember on the throw-ins, he would what was this when he was with Middlesbrough when he got a couple chances?
Yeah.
And the other team was trying to throw the ball and he'd stand in front of him with his hands up like it was basketball. He's a pest on the field. I wish him the best. I really do.
I agree.
But it's not looking good right now. Jose Reyes for $10. Saying Sargent isn't Premier League ready is like saying Jesus should be our starter for the U.S. men's national team. I mean, kind of. But not really. Josh is closer to EPL than people think. I'd agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're just going up to the EPL, or you're one of the teams struggling for goals at the bottom of the table from last season, you got to bring in somebody new and fresh and give it a try. So
I just want him, wherever he goes, I just want him to go to a place that's going to be able to provide service. I don't want him to go to another team where he's going to be playing with his back to goal and never get an opportunity and maybe scrounge a goal or two here,
Yeah, I think he should just go to Germany. I think he's more likely to find a mid-table or a team that really has potential that didn't have a good season, like Wolfsburg or even Gladbach, who had really difficult time scoring goals this year.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? I think that those teams probably are paying attention because of his experience at Werder. I would hope that's where he would go first. I'd rather him avoid the EPL if he could, because I think it's such a political battle, number one. You go to Leeds, man, there are going to be people who are going to hate you right away before you even take a touch of the ball. You go to Wolfsburg, they're going to love you. You go to Gladbach and you just produce, they're going to love you. And plus, on both teams, in this case, you have another American to kind of connect with, although Sargent speaks fluent German, so it's not really an issue for him. So,
yeah.
Not that, 90% of Germans speak English. Can we just get over this whole discussion that playing in Germany is like playing in a foreign country? I mean, the only thing you got to really figure out how to do is how to eat bratwurst, Königsberger Klopse and Brussels sprouts along with your schnitzel. I mean, it's not really that difficult. There's great beer.
Left off sauerkraut on purpose, didn't you?
There's great cuisine. I'm not a fan of sauerkraut because when I was a kid, I ate it and I puked. I got sick and puked, and I've never been able to eat sauerkraut since. But yeah.
But thanks, Jose. We both agree. I think if Sargent goes on to a team in the EPL where it's a decent side, I think he's going to be quite serviceable. I would hate to see him go back to a team that's going to be struggling and that is going to be staving off relegation again.
Yeah, like whoever the new Sheffield United is next season.
Yeah,
I don't want him playing for that team. I really don't. Whoever that is. And there's going to be, out of the 3 teams to get promoted, one of them's going to be the new Sheffield United. The team everybody clobbers all season long. I don't want him on that team. No.
So we got Leicester, Ipswich, and Leeds, Southampton, Leeds, and whomever else. I forgot who they're playing now.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's really hard to tell which one of the 3 teams to get promoted are going to suck.
Leeds and Southampton.
But I do think everybody kind of figured Southampton would suck. I think everybody kind of figured Luton would suck too. So those weren't really that surprising. And I just don't want him to go play for a team that bad because it's just going to be a miserable experience. And he'll just end up back on the championship. And people will definitely then define him as just a championship player. Better to go back to Germany where you know the culture, you love the food. I believe his girlfriend knows Germany well and lived with him there too, so she's going to be comfortable with that move and the baby because they have a kid now. Just do that. You're comfortable there. You know the food. Although okay, I mean that's really a generalization. Okay, because I was talking about this recipe for this what's called German pizza with my mom, and she's like, "I've never heard of that before." I'm like, "Yeah, because they made it in Alsace, Lorraine. That's where the original recipe is." She's like, "Yeah, I wouldn't know anything to do with Alsace, Lorraine. No clue." So yeah, the cultures do differ in different parts of Germany. There are different recipes. Hell, even Schinken is made different in different parts of Germany. They call it Schinken, but it's made with different levels of juniper berries or more or less. So yeah, I don't want to overgeneralize on the Germans since I am one. I don't want to do that. All right. Girlfriend, you mean his wife. You're right. They are married. My bad. In fact, they were married when he was 19. Is that, I believe? Yeah. Sarge's grown up a lot since then. In fact, that baby, and he even said it in an interview, it changed his life. It changed his perspective. It's like, now I got to go out and ball because I got a mouth to feed. Baby need new shoes, right? So there you go.
So I guess let's talk about another player that's whose loan stint is ending, and there's some rumored interest for another location.
And that would be Gabriel Slonina. Strasbourg could also turn to Chelsea for Gabriel Slonina as an option to replace number 1 goalkeeper Ala Bararouch. Was he Algerian, or I wonder what he is, who is yet to convince the club since taking over from Mats Sells in January. Oh yeah, well those are hard shoes to fill because Mats Sells was the go-to guy at Strasbourg before he left to take Matt Turner's job. So yeah, I don't know who Bararouch is. Never seen him play. My guess he's from somewhere in North Africa would be my guess. And or he could be French for all I know, because there's obviously
that's true.
With the connections with France. But I mean that'd be fine. I mean Slonina, he'd probably go to Strasbourg and think this is a cush job compared to what I just had to deal with for a season.
Yeah, no, seriously. What a step up, right?
At Eupen, he was just battered the whole season. I mean, there was like, well, I don't remember the average. It was like he had to say 16, took on 16 or 15 shots a game on goal, not off goal, on goal. So I don't think it was that high. I don't remember.
It was something. It was a stupid statistic by all means. People are like, oh man, Gaga didn't play that well this week and they lost. This. I'm like, yeah, but he made like 45 saves.
Yeah. Hey, the good thing that's come out of all of this. Oh, he is Moroccan, by the way, so I was right.
Yeah.
North African. The good thing about this is that we all learned how to pronounce Eupen, right? Remember that Boli owns Strasbourg. Yeah, and we've talked about Boli and Clear Lake on this show. That's not all they own. And they're about to own the new Indy FC team. So we had a whole show. If you're interested in MLS expansion, there's about 5% of you on the show that are interested in MLS expansion. Go watch our show where we discuss the MLS situation in Indianapolis, where there is going to be expansion. And then, by the way, you probably saw past week, Brett, that the city council approved Simon and his property space for the new stadium for MLS. So, they're going to.
I'm going to go on a limb and say that the new offer that was offered to Herzl wasn't accepted.
Yeah, I don't believe it was. And then, of course, Herzl's working with his own billionaire, is nowhere near the billionaire that the other 5 or 6 billionaires from Clear Lake
near
are.
as liquid.
Yeah, I mean that guy does not have the money to compete with 6 other billionaires, so he's in trouble.
Well, I mean, that's good news for Gaga if that comes through. Again, step up in the right direction. Go from playing on a crap team that's going to get relegated. You get tested a lot. Then you go to a better team in a better league.
Yeah.
And see what happens after that, I guess. I mean, whether or not he actually pans out enough at Chelsea, who knows? But
right. By the way, if you're new here, go check out in the comment, above the comment section. Look at these. These are badass. You got to get one of these. So go get one of those. All right. So we never promote anything on the show. We're idiots. So when I was adjusting the camera,
we promoted KY earlier today.
I noticed the shirt. I remember going to my parents wearing this the first time. They were like, "Damn, that's a pretty awesome shirt." I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty good." I didn't design this, obviously. We had 2 guys design it. Simon, right, designed the first logo for us, and then we had another guy that
he cleaned it up. Simon cleaned it up.
Right. Simon Allen.
We initially created what this was.
Right, but he cleaned it up.
He cleaned it up, yeah.
Yeah, he did a great job cleaning it up. Simon Allen, shout out to you, brother, and Worldwide Soccer Podcast. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Long-term
the Dalai
friend.
Lama of soccer.
Known that dude for 14 years. So, good guy. We disagree on like half the shit, but but we're still friends. See, you can be friends with people you disagree with. It is possible, people. It's very possible. But we're like brothers. So, all right, what else we got? In fact, if you go back in our catalog early on when we did our comeback, he was one of our first guests. We did a 4-hour show, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. By the last hour, everyone was so drunk.
We were so toasted.
Oh my God. It's almost embarrassing. It really is. It's so embarrassing. We're all slurring our words and
I wasn't drunk. You're drunk.
Yeah, you were probably the worst, actually. Yeah, because you got stuck. You got stuck in certain phraseologies back then when you got really, really drunk.
You know, it's like it used to be like in all honesty was one.
Yeah, it was. Yes, I forgot what it was.
To be I was going to be frank, but that wasn't it.
To be frank, I think that was it. You used to say that when you got really, really, really drunk on the show. Yeah. You don't do it anymore.
Sticking to my guns or something like that. It was one of those type of ones.
Yeah.
It got brought out to my attention. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, all of a sudden, I'll say it randomly. I'm like, I'm not saying that again.
You've done a great job. Honestly, you have. You haven't done it for like 2.5 years, so you're kicking.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing with doing this consistently all the time is that you get rid of those idiosyncrasies, the things you rely on.
I am an idiot. I'm just my whole being is an idiosyncrasy, so I'm fucked. All right.
Well, it's that time of the show, Derek, where it's an hour and a half in. We're going to hit the actual main topic.
Boom!
We're there, guys. But that's going to be another hour and a half. So sit down, relax, grab another drink.
Yeah. By the way, I should sing this real quick because apparently, Eddie Vedder and the kicker Butker?
Yeah, from Kansas City or whatever, yeah.
This is for both of them. Even flow. There we go.
Well, it's funny because the guy who posted it that made the rounds. He had censored himself. He's like, he called him the P word. I'm like, what the P word?
Oh, he called him a pussy.
What the fuck's the P word? And all of a sudden, I listened to him like, oh, he called him a pussy. Okay, whatever.
I'm pretty sure that Butker could kick fucking Eddie Vedder's ass.
Eddie Vedder's like 68 or something like that?
Yeah, he's an old man.
He's an old guy.
I wouldn't be calling anybody playing football, even though he's a punter or a kicker or whatever the dude is. I wouldn't be calling pussy. You could disagree with what he said. Although I think he was just, I don't know I didn't watch the video. I just know what people say. You got one, I don't know. I'm not getting into it. I got to watch the video before I comment on it. I don't want to say anything until I watch the Butker video and what he actually said at this, whatever it was. High school.
The clips I saw made it sound like he was making a case for the trad wife type of mentality. The wife it's great that you got a degree, but the wife should be at the home and it's X, Y, and Z, etc.
I hope
again, just the small clips I've seen, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, listen, women should be able to do whatever they want. They want to go have a corporate career. Good luck. You want to be the mom staying at home. Here's the thing about Butker
as miserable as we are. Come on.
And your wife works. My wife worked. You want to know why we both had to work? Because it's expensive to live now. Like, it's not, Butker can walk around saying, oh, yeah, my wife stays home and takes care of the kids and she's a great homemaker. Well, you can afford it. Most of us out here now living in the real world to afford our mortgage, our bills, our kids, our soccer that we send our kids to, that costs a lot of money. So both of the family members have to work. That's just reality. I don't know what their argument is, but, for me, that's just how life is anymore. Like, this isn't the 50s where you can have one member of the father being the breadwinner and the mom can just stay home and be the homemaker. Like, that's a world that in a lot of ways has faded away for a majority of Americans. It's just gone. But if you're Butker and you're making whatever he makes, I'm guessing $1 million a year at least, you can afford to have your wife stay home, even though apparently she's very smart and could probably do a lot of things.
I'll come back to that super chat real quick.
All right.
Untouchable says gas is $4.09 here. Thanks, Obama.
I mean, listen, yeah. And now the way things are right now, especially with inflation, and you just go to the grocery store and you're like, I'm spending twice as much on groceries than I did. It's and I don't even know how much. I don't want to get into this, but I don't know.
Paycheck to afford eggs, 77% up from last 4 years. It's actually cheaper to purchase chickens or hens and feed them and let them lay eggs for you.
This has nothing to do with politics. This is just a reality for families right now. I don't care. Yeah. It's not political to say that this is a reality. So, all right. Diego, 29.
Diego. First time you've been down a while, man.
Yeah, glad you're well, buddy. What's up? How much is gas in Indiana? A lot less expensive than in California.
It's $3. It varies drastically week to week, but it's like $3.40 to $3.60 range, I believe.
I think I was talking to Pete. Man, was it Pete? I think it was Pete, or maybe it might have been Alexi. Yeah, either way, they were both like, yeah, gas is. I mean, Alexi doesn't care. He's well off. But for Pete, he's a working dude, and it's just killing him. Just killing him. Gas is just killing everybody out west.
It's one of the big reasons why whenever I get a new car, I bought a Prius.
Is that a half and halfer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I get roughly about 55 miles to the gallon.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah, that's pretty good.
But my I know I've mentioned on the show, but my nephews made fun of me after he got the Prius. I'm like, yeah, but I get 55 miles to the gallon, so suck a dick.
Yeah, but does your electric bill go up?
No. Like I don't charge it.
Oh,
it runs off battery.
It's just the battery.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And I've only had to replace the battery once, but that was on warranty at the time. So yes, me.
So it's not a pure EV.
No.
Okay. All right.
So, back to that super chat real quick. Chris Bucker says for $2, should CCV move up leagues or stay at Celtic? There was a long debate after you said that, Derek, that you should that Christ Bucker is funny. So
okay, well, it was meant in a very positive way. Means he really loves Christ. All right, for $2, should CCV move up a league or stay at Celtic? Yeah, you should move on. I'm tired of watching him play at Celtic. I know we get the games here. What are they on? Paramount? But it's boring.
Yep, move on.
It's boring watching Celtic kick everyone's ass. It's not fun. There's like one game a year, 2 games a year. You watch, you're like, oh yeah, it was fun. That was against Rangers. Yeah, I don't think it's really that challenging for him. It just doesn't look very challenging. So time to go somewhere else, more challenging. Not MLS. Germany.
No, I imagine he's going to stay more in the UK area because he had who do you have interest from? Oh, somebody in Turkey, and he basically said, "Nah, I'm good."
Nah, don't go to Turkey because there are not enough. I know we're going to get PMR saying, Derek, you don't know shit about Turkey, but there are not enough eyeballs on Turkey. And I think you get more eyeballs playing in the championship than you would in Turkey. So
that's also a great point too. He's not a spring chicken anymore.
He's not.
So he's getting up there in what would be his prime years.
Right. I agree. So, it's now or never. It's now or never.
I would say, well, I mean, it's easy to say which team you should go to, but definitely I would say probably stick with championship at that point. Yeah. I mean, there he is. He goes, Derek, you don't know shit about Turkey.
Yeah, that's why you know so many teams that play there. Okay. All right. Anyhow, it's now or never. Shoot or get off the pot. Come on, CV. You got it. CCV got to make a decision here. I don't know what the offers are. We really don't. So we're just gonna have to wait. PMR hammering me with the all caps. All caps. All right, what else we got? Oh, we're doing this.
Yeah, we're on the topic, Derek. We just haven't actually started the topic yet.
Wow.
All right, so I figure what we'll do is we've got the actual roster here. We'll go down the roster.
Okay.
Talk about our head scratchers and our insights.
Yes, not our slights, our insights.
And then we will we'll watch Berhalter. We got a call what you want video to watch a bit of, and then we got a couple of other people's lineups and stuff.
Yeah, we got a bunch of people out there today spewing their shit all over the wall, and so we're gonna take a look at their wall and see what stuck, what fell down it, what dripped to the floor, what needs to be cleaned up with a mop. We're gonna cover it all. I think we've got Max Bredos. I'm trying to get
Bredos. We had Jake
Landau. We've already covered Pete's. We already covered Tax 11.
Yeah.
But we also have the thrilling and titillating, ball tingling interview presser with Gregg Berhalter.
Yeah.
We have some pieces on that. So here we go. Goalkeepers: Ethan Horvath. That's fine. Matt Turner. That's fine. Sean Johnson, I did not see coming, but as Greg explained it today, he's like, yeah, I just wanted the same guys that were at the World Cup.
That's a stupid mentality.
It sure as hell is.
That's a dumb mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
It is.
You don't do that, right? So I don't know. We had this big debate. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen on Twitter where people are like, oh, I just can't get mad at when we were sitting here debating on who's the 26th and 27th person on the roster. I'm like, no, that's all we've got to argue about because the rest of the roster builds itself.
I tell you who's mad. Schulte. Celentano.
So Schulte and Gog, I think, are Olympic bound. So Celentano would be a good one to bring up. Stefan. Some say
There are some mad goalkeepers out there.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Who felt like this is going to be my shot. And Calendar probably thought he had a shot here. He's not going to get it. We're going to
still call Calendar over Johnson at this point. Johnson's what, like 46?
But he's apparently he's a vibes guy. So that's why
the only thing that's the argument I made for him, right? Like he must be a vibes guy in the locker room. Has to be.
No, it's not even has to be. Greg said it in his presser. So the story, he's there for the vibes.
That's one of my big arguments there is he shouldn't be in there. Get rid of him. Bring somebody else in. We have plenty of young goalkeepers. We have plenty of mid-range goalkeepers that are going to be just as serviceable.
I'd agree.
But my argument is that why are we complaining about these 26 and 27? That third goalkeeper, even though the third goalkeeper is not going to see any playing time unless tragedy strikes, it's to incorporate them into the Gregg system, into the squad, so that they can start getting comfortable with everybody else.
It's just experience.
Yeah.
The experience itself is something you learn from. I'm not mad. I don't think you're mad.
No,
but it's something dumb. You get mad about. But it's like, come on, you couldn't have done better.
It's not clown behavior, but it's a weak-minded mentality when it comes to picking your squad.
God, how much?
I'm just gonna pick the guys that I'm kind of comfortable with. I don't care if there are better people out there. I'm just gonna go with these.
I'm just gonna start calling these players the bra players. BRA, bra. Why? They're there for support. They're there to lift the titties up. And like, how much of this do you need? How much bra support do you need? If Adams is already there, he's your captain. You got Pulisic there. You got veterans there. You really don't need to hike the titties up with Sean Johnson. This is when you take the bra.
Age gracefully, Berhalter. Come on.
You take the bra off. You let the titties hang. Bring in a new player who's younger, has a future with the team possibly, and you let them flop around together. I think that's what you do. Not flop as in lose, but hey, let's let it all hang out here.
Nathaniel wants to know, he goes, what the fuck kind of comparison is that? I'm going to add to
it. We make a lot of those on this show, Nathan, so get used to it.
All right, let's go to defenders, I guess.
They're usually about dicks and balls, but yeah, I just threw in a titty one there. All right, Cameron Carter-Vickers, yeah, expected. Lund, Hansen.
We expected it. Yeah.
Lund Hansen.
Okay. So he's the fourth Hansen brother, huh?
I guess. All right.
I mean, I feel like our audience is well versed enough to know that.
You're into the kitty pop. They're not kids anymore, that's for sure. What are they, 80?
Yeah.
All right, Mark McKenzie. That was nice of Greg to put Mark on here. He's not going to play. Shaq Moore. Go ahead.
I guess let's jump back to Mark real quick. Mark was one of those contenders, but we didn't account for 5 center backs when doing our 26. Or 27.
Oh, that's because Greg might play 3 in the back.
Yeah, 3 back. Go ahead, Greg.
No.
We'll get into Stu's comments later. Don't talk about it yet.
Yep.
Don't ruin the fun, guys.
Right. So Shaq Moore was the one that everybody's like, what the hell? And even Lexi and I had to talk about this because he was like, it's not a big deal. And I'm like, well, what about the other guys will it be a big deal for? What about if your name is Brian Reynolds? And then, of course, Greg's like, well, no, Reynolds is going to go play in the Olympics. We decided that. Okay, fine. What about Paredes? Paredes will play in the Olympics too. So he's got those guys cleared. And then I mentioned, well, I'd take Yedlin over to Lexi. I'd take Yedlin over Moore. And he's like, he's injured. Then I checked it. He's right. Yedlin is injured. So then I brought up, how about
nobody?
Brooks Lennon. I'll take Brooks and Lennon over. I'll take DeJuan Jones over Shaq Moore, who, by the way, has been benched for the last. He's not even a starter for, I think, the last 3 games for Nashville, who are stinking the MLS up this season, by the way.
DeJuan Jones or Moore?
No, Shaq Moore and Nashville have been horrible this season. He's been horrible. He's been benched. So
that was weird because you said Dwan Jones, and then you immediately jumped back to Moore without saying his name and said that he was benched over at Nashville. And I was like, wait a second.
So Dwan Jones is back from injury. While he was gone, Revolution keeps stinking it up, but it's not on him. All right, so he played 50 minutes this weekend. I'd take Dwan Jones over Shaq Moore. I would take Brooks Lennon over King Shaq Moore. But he's another vibes guy. I would take Marlon Fossey. You know, I would take all kinds of people. Shaq Moore, I am done with.
My take, I guess, if you want to make sure if Berhalter wants to have a quote unquote backup right back, but that if we're assuming that Shaq Moore is there as the backup to Scally, then we are assuming that he's not going to experiment and try playing Weston or Musah or even Weah at right.
Well, we'll get to his presser.
So I don't. My point would be is like, what's the point of even including it, right?
Right.
Well, I guess I'll answer my own question here. The reason why you include somebody like Shaq Moore, even though most everybody suspects that he's probably going to experiment with somebody else, like the player we mentioned, is if that fails in those games, in those friendlies. And then he's like, well, geez, I better have this backup safety net in case. And then at that point, you'd be like, okay, well, then Tillman, you're out of here. You know?
Well, you could have brought Jeremy Toljan if you'd even worked on it a little.
Yeah.
Even a little. You could have Jeremy Toljan as your backup. A guy who's played in the Serie A for 4 seasons. You could have worked on it.
Is he good enough for the U.S.?
He's good enough as a backup, and he's better than fucking Shaq Moore.
Yeah.
Shaq Moore could never play in a Serie A in his life. He played in Segunda in Spanish, in the Spain. That's the highest level he ever. And he was a bench warmer by the end of his career. That's why he went back to MLS.
Or 2.
Come on.
Yeah.
I have nothing personal against Shaq Moore. I'm sure he is a wonderful dude. But when you go out in the World Cup and you come out and you play like that, like a broken person, then I don't trust you anymore to handle the big moment. And by the way, we're about to have a big moment. It's called Copa America. And Yedlin's done better at big moments than he has. I wish he wasn't injured. And I don't even know how injured Yedlin is. Maybe he could. But I trust Lexi when he says he's injured. So there we go.
We should have brought that kid in from Kansas City who scored that screecher, you know? Maybe that's who we should have brought in.
Should have brought in him. He could be. What about Jack McGlynn? Maybe he can play right back.
Well, and that's my point, because if we're not going to include Shaq Moore, if you remove him from the squad completely, that gives you an open spot to bring somebody else in. And if we're talking about the possibility of experimenting with as a backup, because, you know, Des is gone, we really don't have a better option as a backup now, then we're going to be playing some of our midfielders into that role.
Well,
who have played that before, but
we'll get to the presser. Yes.
My point is that you could have included another midfielder that's not included here instead of Shaq Moore.
Yeah.
Somebody like a Maloney.
You could have included Maloney, who really is the only guy, and we'll get to this again in the presser, who got shafted here for ridiculous reasons. If it wasn't just Shaq Moore, but also apparently Tillman is outperforming him. Yeah.
That's it. So I had this conversation with somebody on X where we used to joke. They're like, oh, well, who cares about these players? They're not going to see playing time. I'm like, yeah, but it's exposure with the coach and the coaching staff. We made fun of that MLS camp that Berhalter put on before. We had like a 2-month window between qualifiers. And it was during the January window. They had a January window, and then they went to like a 2-week camp before the window started that all the MLS players got to participate in. We made fun of that. But then all of a sudden, Berhalter brought in like 4 players from that camp who don't deserve to have been there.
Are you talking about Camp Cupcake?
No, they played a Camp Cupcake, and then there was an MLS window for like 2 or 3 weeks before the next World Cup qualifying match. But there were players that were in that window, and Brooks Lennon was one of them, who got incorporated into the next World Cup qualifying window. So it makes a difference being around the coaches, even if you are an outlier who's not going to see any playing time.
I mean, everybody is saying that Tillman's going to be the one that's dropped. I don't know if that's a fact or not. I really don't. It could be Shaq more.
Depends on how well the two friendlies go, I guess.
And it depends on whether in the practice and the build up to the games and the friendlies, and then during the friendlies, who performs best at that right back. The guy that's probably feeling the worst right now out of everybody, it's got to be Joe Scally. Because Joe Scally must be looking at this like, what's the panic? What is the panic here? Why is Gregg talking about midfielders and center backs taking my spot? Why is he talking about Weah talking about taking my spot? He's got to be like, damn, nobody has any trust in me whatsoever.
Well, and again, from the presser, it sounds like Berhalter may be setting Scally up for failure. We'll get to that too.
Yeah. I mean, we've said on this show many times that Joe Scally simply makes this team because of his own accomplishments at Gladbach. It's not that Berhalter rates Joe Scally that high. It's just like if he doesn't bring Joe Scally, he'll have another Brooks situation on his hand. Or he's like, has to explain, why isn't Joe Scally here? He starts for Gladbach. Well, I don't rate Joe Scally. I still don't think he does. And then after Joe Scally's last performance, which didn't help him, even though it wasn't all his fault, right? That didn't help. And he got yanked at halftime. That doesn't help your confidence, certainly. And then you throw McKennie out there instead. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Let's move down this list.
Tim Reed, Chris Richards, we both knew. Anthony Robinson, Miles Robinson, Joe Scally. The defenders are all done there.
The rest is chalk.
Yeah.
Tyler Adams, Johnny Cardoso, all chalk here. This is all chalk except for Timmy Tillman.
Yeah.
I saw somebody make an argument like, well, Malik doesn't really know a whole lot of guys on the team. Yes, he does. Pepe's on this team.
Malik's been part of the squad, though. What argument is that?
Right. Why does he need his brother to hold his hand? Like,
this should be vice versa. Timmy doesn't know anybody on this team.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Malik needs somebody to hang out with. He can go hang out with Pepe. He's friends with Pepe. What are we talking about here?
The inclusion of Timmy is weird. And obviously there's an argument that can be made with Adams' inclusion.
Yeah, he could be injured.
He hasn't played since that nice 90-minute game or whatever he got.
No, he got some minutes for Bournemouth a week ago. Yeah.
But then he didn't play this weekend though.
Probably because there was nothing on the line. They were like,
why waste it? Why take the chance?
Yeah, I'm not even going to risk it.
So there's an argument that you could make. Now, mind you, if Adams is healthy enough to play, he's going to be included. Hands down, that's the answer right there. There's an argument you could make to say, like, I'd rather him just stay at home and continue to nurse and rehab and come back in the next season with Bournemouth healthy.
The recent report on Adams is he still has some lower lumbar issue, but apparently not super serious. So hopefully he gets some rest. Don't overplay him in the friendlies. Maybe 45. First 45, yank him. First 45, yank him. Don't play him a full 90. We saw what happened when he went to Bournemouth, and they played him 97 or 94 straight minutes, and he was done after that. Done. So you're going to have to be really careful. But that's what makes leaving Maloney off of this more egregious, because there is no other like-for-like destroyer for Tyler Adams who can cover the back four than Maloney. He's the only one that is a destroyer. If you want to tell me Johnny Cardoso can do it, that's fine. But Johnny Cardoso is more of a 6/8. He's not a destroyer. He's not a lane killer. Guy he's a box to box if you need him to be too, but he's not a Tyler Adams. He's not a Maloney who just is his IQ on defense in front of that back four allows the other two center midfielders, McKennie and Reyna, to have more freedom on the offense, knowing their defensive asses are covered right behind them by Adams. And in this case, it would be Maloney. You could do that with Cardoso. I think that's a lot of pressure to put Cardoso under, frankly. I really do.
Well, I mean, it's coming from a coach who said Scally was a like for Dest. So, I mean, at that point, you could say Musah or Johnny are all like for Adams, right? Because they can play that role.
I know if that's the way he's thinking, surely. Because if you think that, I think that Gregg was talking generically there, just to give him a pass. He's talking generically about, Moore and Scally being like for like positionally. So,
Gregg, they played the right back role that Des played. That's how like for like there.
Yeah, but outside of that, they're not like for like at all, because obviously Scally cannot do what Des does. In fact, the only person that can do what Des does, if he were to play right back in some of the same ways, carrying the ball forward and dribbling past people, in my frank opinion, is Musah. And I think that's where he's going to end up doing it. But we'll get to that. All right. Brendan Aaronson earned it in the last 7 games of the season. Fighter.
Dark Brendan earned it.
Dark Brendan. The Aaronson that played before those 7 games of the season did not earn dick.
But he still earned all the call-ups, so it didn't matter.
All right. Well,
earned.
Balogun, up and down roller coaster season. We'll see. Ricardo Pepe. Yep. Would have liked to see him play more. He did play this weekend. Christian Pulisic. Pretty damn good season, but some really highs and then some not a lot of lows, but enough of them where you're like, wow, he just disappeared that game. Nobody passed him the ball.
That's the thing. It's not lows because he played poorly. It's lows because they played that down the left the entire time.
They just played down lay outside the whole game, and he barely was in the game. And you're like, well, this is shit. Why did I tune in and watch this game where Pulisic touched the ball 3 times in the whole first half? Sucks.
Yeah.
Play down his side more. But I understand it because you got Leao and then you got what's-his-face playing left back behind him. Those are Teo. So those are the best 2 players on the team. I understand why they go down the left all the time. Josh Sargent, expected. Weah, expected. Haji Wright, at this point, expected. So no surprises.
Like I said, the only ones in question marks were the 26th and 27th spot, really.
Right.
Oh, and third goalkeeper. So there's 3 spots. And again, that's the thing. People are like, why are we getting upset about these people? Like, well, it's the only thing we can debate about.
Listen,
the rest of the team is built for it. It's already done.
No, we're speaking for the players who got left off this team for 3 guys who didn't earn it. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not upset about it at all. They're probably upset about it because they thought they had a shot at this squad and going to Copa America, even if they were along for the ride, to learn to, I'm sure Maloney is sitting at home going, I just took a village team.
Yeah.
Basically a pub team.
Got him promoted.
A pub team 6 years ago. I just took them to 8th and 7th place or somewhere around there in the Bundesliga as a destroyer center defensive midfielder. And Gregg just went on his presser and said, I'm not good enough. Timothy Tillman's better than me. And that's a wow. If I'm Maloney, I'm like, what? So I'm not upset. I'm going to sleep fine tonight. But I bet you Maloney goes home and goes, damn, I'm fucked. As long as this clown is running the team, I have no shot at making this squad. No shot. Because what's the chances Maloney and Heidenheim finish in the top 7 or 8 next season? Small.
Timothy Tillman didn't even show anything in the Camp Cupcake match, in my opinion.
He was bad. There's only one guy. Barak Tarovic was the only guy that really showed me something in Camp Cupcake where I was like, well, this kid's got talent.
I think all the subs that came in.
Luna, Luna did some.
Luna,
things, but-
I like Luna. Esmir, obviously, and then McGlynn was fine.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Not a lot to get your cock hard in that Camp Cupcake.
Mm-mm.
If you're into that sort of stuff. Our wing depth is trash. Now, listen, it's not good. I mean, that's why Haji's there. Don't fool yourself. I mean, Gregg was pretty clear about it. Haji's there for wing depth. That's how shallow we are after Pulisic and Weah. It's Aaronson and Haji. And Sargent. Yep.
But that was the thing, that was the comment I was making when we were talking about Weah going back. I'm like, who the hell's going to take his place? Who are we going to bring in, really? Come on.
Yeah.
It's going to be 2 strikers and Dark Brennan, hopefully. So
right. All right. So we're going to start with Gregg here.
Yep. We're on to 143, it looks like.
143. Olympics is what he talks about here.
There's a fall into that category. Kevin Paredes being one of them. Aiden Morris, another one. Brian Reynolds, potentially another one. So just making those decisions to really impact the entire player pool. And then in terms of the Copa America roster, the messaging was very clear that although
the message was I threw a dart at a bunch of balloons and whoever's name popped out.
No, the message was who had the best answer when I asked on the phone how we're going to change the way Americans think about American soccer.
A large majority of this roster will make up Copa America. Nothing's set in stone. And I think that's the important thing. We want to have a good training camp. We want to have some good performance.
Yeah.
The large portion of this roster, this training camp roster, is going to be yes, exactly. 26 out of the 27 players to be exact.
He got one extra dude.
What? And that's the thing too. Why, if it's a training camp roster, why are we stopping at 27? I mean, I guess training you can break them up into 3 groups of 9 or something like that. I guess.
Apparently, they've already decided who's going to the Olympics. Paredes, Reynolds, other guys mentioned there. But so, okay, fine. I don't have a problem with that. I think Reynolds and of age players, those are good picks.
I think there are going to be enough good players that are left off of the Olympic roster that could be filling in these roles that other people are filling in right now. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. 5'10". This is what I don't want to hear anymore. I don't want to hear anybody say this anymore. Let's play it.
We can achieve together.
Next will be Ron Blum from the Associated Press.
Hey, Gregg. Thanks for doing this. Are you?
Stop it. That's all I need to hear. I don't want to hear, and they all do it. I don't want to hear another journalist say, Gregg, thanks for doing this. This is his fucking job. This is what he is paid to fucking do. Do a press conference. It's in his job. It's in the description of his job. Quit sucking his cock off every time he decides to do a presser for fucking 35 minutes. Holy crap. Okay, maybe you have to do that because you're one of the 11 journalists that are allowed to actually ask Gregg a question, because many of the guests that have been on our show aren't allowed to ask Gregg questions anymore, right? Like
probably because they didn't thank him enough.
Pete goes to all of these. They never call him Pete. He's even given up. He's like, they're not going to ask me. They're going to let me ask a question. Meg doesn't get to ask questions anymore. She got one in the last 5 months because she's been told her other questions were too testy, like a pair of balls. Like, the only guys that I've been able to get, that we've had on our show that have been able to wiggle their way around this are Stephen Goff, who's been on our show, and Brian Schroeder. They both are figuring out ways how they can ask a hard question in the most gentlest of fashions, right?
Damn.
So, no, Brian did get a question. He got skipped, but it was on Brian. He couldn't figure out how to unmute himself.
Oh.
But they called on him. They did call on him. He just
so he got skipped because he couldn't unmute himself?
He had some technical issue.
That sucks.
but Brian was on there, and they always let Brian ask a question because Brian's very smart. He's like, I know exactly how much I can push and how to frame it so it doesn't look like I'm being a dick, right? So he's smart. So is Goff. Steven's great at that. He'll ask a hard question sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes his questions get very DC United player related, which is fine. He covers that for Washington Post. I get it. So anyhow, that was that. Ron Blom, don't do that anymore, brother. Nothing, no offense to you.
It wasn't just Ron.
No, it's not just Ron. Quit thanking
him.
Gregg for doing a press conference. Like, even the president's press secretary doesn't get thanked. Hey, thank you for being here and answering our questions here. Listen, you're the leader of an organization, and when you're a leader, you're going to have to do an occasional press conference. It's part of the job. Quit sucking his nutsack every time you go on. If you're friends with him, fine. Then you shouldn't need to thank him at all because you're friends, you're buddies, you're cozy. It's like you and him having lunch.
I want one of the journalists to take the moniker of Trent Grimm at this point.
Trent Grimm,
Brian Schroeder of the Soccer America. Is it Soccer America? What is it? What's his site?
Ooh, Schroeder?
Yeah.
No, American Soccer Now, but he
Now.
He writes for Sports Illustrated. He writes articles for a lot of different places. Yeah, he's
kind
of like
it would be his version of The Independent.
Right. Listen, I mean, we know a lot of those people, so I'm not shitting on Ron Blom personally. I'm just saying, stop saying this. All of you need to stop thanking Gregg for doing an interview. This is ridiculous. Just ask your question. You can say, hey, Gregg. Yeah, here's my question. Hey, Gregg would work just fine. Or Coach Berhalter, if you want to get really formal with him. All right.
Look like Berhalter just got asked about some algebra questions.
I tell you what, back in my day, nobody thanked Bruce Arena for doing a press conference. I don't know when this started. I can't remember when it started. But when I was in my younger years, no one thanked Bruce for doing an interview. I just, it's so ridiculous. Nobody had to coddle him because Bruce is a badass. That's what he is. He's a super confident dude, whereas Gregg's a little, he's got his crunchy moments. So maybe he needs to be coddled. I don't know.
Goalkeepers that we thought worked really well at the last World Cup. Matt's the number one as of now.
We're
going to continue to support him, and with him or Gio or Tim, we are really looking at how they performed really well for us, and that they've built up credit, but now it's about supporting them, using this time. We do have an extended chunk. Our first game isn't until June 23rd. So we have time, we have friendly games to build up their fitness and get them ready as we prepare for Copa America.
I'm pretty sure that you don't need to support Turner that much. He's a pretty solid guy. I know he's come to the realization this season didn't work out for him.
You got to get a sports therapist out there to get his funk wiped away. Right now, he's sort of in his own head, I think.
He has been this season with Nottingham Forest. He got into his own head. For sure. I think a sports therapist is fine, but you don't need to knit him a bra. He doesn't need that much support.
I still can't get over the goalkeepers went with the same ones from the World Cup.
Yeah.
It's like, what kind of criteria is that? What are you doing?
Well, he was clear about it. It was vibes. He brings experience, this Johnson. He brings.
We must have missed that portion of that segment.
We skipped over it because it's
okay.
He brings experience. He brings length, girth. His name is Johnson, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
All right. And then we got the guy that poses the question. Hey, are you thinking of playing a back three? Here we go.
National level. I mean, how much, if at all, are you considering a 3-man, 5-man back line? Given that I think Chris Richards and Miles Robinson both played 3 with their clubs. Thank you.
So if you look at what we're trying to do, I mean, obviously with Serginho going down, you know, we have to figure out the right back situation, and there's a couple different.
So that's a
options we can look
slight
at,
no
right? We have
already,
Lance,
right?
Joe Scout.
That's a slight no. He's already kind of said, yeah, I get your question is about 3, but really I'm just right now focused on what we're doing right now, i.e. his system, in the current 4-3-3 or the 4-2-3-1. Those are the 2 systems he's comfortable in. So now we're just really trying to think about right back. And now he's going to give you all the solutions for that right back situation.
Yeah, man.
Ali and Shaq Moore. We have a winger that can play there with Timothy Weah, who's played that for his club. We have center midfielders who can play there with Weston and Eunice. And then we have center backs that we're looking at. Can they play there? So we just wanted the ability in this training camp to have options, to have flexibility. Some of it may revolve around, you know, a back 3. But the first objective,
he's scratching the eye when he says that. I don't think there's a back 3 coming.
But I wonder if he's kind of wiggling around it because maybe in the attack, because if you have Chris Richards, he's not going to run up and down like Des does. He won't even run up and down like Scally does. So maybe in the attack, if you have somebody like Chris Richards playing as a quote unquote right back, it's going to appear to be a 3 center back role.
So he brought up Weah, Musah, McKinney.
Yeah, before the center back. Yeah, and he didn't even mention center back by name either.
Yep, I think he's going to go. It's very obvious to me that he is not comfortable with Scally and Moore as his options going into this Copa America. He is going to be testing out Musah, McKinney, and even Weah in these friendlies as a right back before he even starts to think about fucking around with a back 3.
Yeah.
So,
no, 100% agree with you on that.
That's the last thing he got to, right? In this discussion.
I mean, I think obviously I still think obviously day 1 friendly, I think Scally is absolutely going to be starting. And then we'll venture from there. But you're right. I think the center mids and Weah are going to be the go-to next.
Yeah, he's going to try different people, I think, in the 2 friendlies in his usual system. And I don't think he wants to play another center back, which is not our deepest position, by the way, and then rip off one of our midfielders off the pitch. I have actually seen lineups on X where Reyna is not a starter because we moved to a 3-4-3. Or I've seen 3-4-3s with Reyna playing out right wing or right forward, which is fine. But who's connecting the back line with the front 3? You need somebody to do that job playing the
That's what Timmy's for, right?
10 role. Timmy who? There's 2 Timmys.
Timothy Tillman?
There's 3 Timmys. It's Timothy Weah, Timothy Tillman, and
Tim
Ream. Yeah, and then I see lineups without any Ream in it at all, and I'm thinking, there's no Ream? No reaming going on. Really? No reaming in your lineup. Yeah, I think you're going to be wrong. There's no way Tim Ream, when the shit hits the fan and Copa America starts, there is just absolutely no way that Tim Ream, based on Berhalter's switching fields philosophy, is going to leave Tim Ream off this team.
Mm-hmm.
For leadership and other reasons. Tim Ream is playing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just mind melding.
I'm agreeing with you.
I am mind melding the best I can with Berhalter. And I think over the last 3 years, 4 years, whatever it's been, 5, we have gotten really good here on this show at absolutely being able to predict what Gregg Berhalter is going to do. And I do not predict the back 3. He might.
We may get a little bit here and there wrong
in the friendlies.
It's
Like,
always gonna be something small. Yeah.
He might test that shit out in the friendlies where he throws Chris Richardson as the right back and then sort of shifts it over so it's actually back three and lets Jedi run wild on the left as a left winger. Like, it's possible that he might fuck around with that in the friendlies. But when the shit hits the fan in Copa, he's not. There's no experimentation going on there. It's too important. Every game is important. And if you're going to look, remember when Klinsmann pulled that shit off?
Yeah.
With Mexico in the qualifier? And then it took Jermaine Jones had to go run to the sideline when some player was off injured and say, hey, motherfucker, we've never played this before. Like, I know we practiced it, but this shit ain't working.
Yeah.
We got to go switch this shit up. This is broken.
And the biggest thing there is we have two friendlies leading into the Copa. At that point, Gregg's got to do a couple things. He's got to figure out, he's got to make sure he tries to get Scally solidified as a decent option at right back. And then at that point, he's also got to figure out who his backup's going to be. I don't think there's going to be enough time to experiment with Richards as a right back option. I think it's going to be Musah or McKinney are going to both get a part of a friendly.
I mean, he might jerk around with it last 10 minutes of a game.
Possible, yeah.
But that's about it. That's not enough time to test that shit out this late in the game. Like, Berhalter should have been testing. If you want to do a back three, should have been testing that games ago, 2 years ago in friendlies or against some Caribbean team you're going to crush. But he hasn't done it since Honduras. And when he did do it at Honduras for that first half, we got embarrassed. And we were down and losing. And that's when he yanked Brooks at halftime, and Brooks lost his shit in the locker room and threw a fit in front of the whole fucking team, which we can confirm now. You don't have to believe us. It's fine. We can confirm it happened. We're not giving you our sources. Just telling you that happened. And no more Brooks. So there you go. I don't see it this late in the game trying a back three, which is why it's kind of annoying when today Stu Holden's still pushing his back three. Because if you are a casual fan or a new fan to the game and you're following the guys, the pundits who cover the game in the United States, Stu's a pretty big one. And he keeps whipping his dick out and saying, look at my back three. Right?
Why else would you bring 5 center backs in? Yeah. Well, let's listen.
I mean, 5's not absurd in a 26-man roster. It's not absurd.
Yeah.
It really isn't.
We got Stu coming up here shortly. Let's finish out Gregg's interview here where he talks about Maloney, and then we'll branch out.
Oh, yeah. For those people who think Leonard Maloney's on the Olympic team, let this dispel that.
Regarding Lenny, I've had conversations with him. We see the depth chart for the Olympic group of comprising of a number of Olympic age eligible players in midfield. So it's not, he's not in consideration for that per se as of now. But he's
forever.
I think as he went through this season, he picked up an injury and getting back to form. He played in the last game, which is good. But
90.
But Tyler Adams can be included,
right? Even though Maloney went a full 90 in the last game, he's completely back to health. They won the fucking game. They finished 8th in the Bundesliga, but Maloney not good enough. He's about to say that.
This it's not the same scenario, I know, but this is the same type of backpedaling that he did when talking about Brooks during qualifying. Always just trying to think of some kind of an excuse, even though it doesn't pan out when you look at the rest of the players. Adams has been injured for the entire season, and he's got one game plus a bit of change. But he's healthy enough to run around, so we're going to include him because he's important to the team. But you know who's not important to the team is Timothy Tillman. Why is he there over Maloney?
Right.
Maloney's not going to the Olympics because there's enough eligible aged center midfielders already. So he's probably not going to be included as he'd be overage, correct? Yeah, he's like 23 area already. Why are we bringing somebody who stands zero chance? A guy who's relatively mediocre in MLS.
right? At the least, you could fondle Maloney and have him in camp, and let him be in camp for 2 weeks or a week or whatever it is. But no, he doesn't even get a fondling. He gets a talking down to here from Gregg, who basically said everyone else is better than him, including Timmy Tillman.
But he called him out with a funny, cute pet name. It's Lenny. Our buddy Lenny.
Lenny.
I talked with Lenny on the weekend, and he's probably not gonna make the Olympic squad, and he just got injured, but he just came back. He's not full health either. It's just, excuse.
Again, I'll say this again for people who are new to the show. There is no exact like for like for Adams, but the closest you're going to get is Leonard Maloney, not Cardoso. Cardoso, different type of player, not a destroyer. He's not a destroyer. All right. He doesn't have the same radar. His radar is bigger. And if you want to play that way, then fine. Then you don't need Maloney, I guess. And that's what Gregg's saying. But if you're talking about Adams and Maloney, that is their job to protect the back line. That's it. That's all they do. Whereas Cardoso is more, he's got more he can do, right? He's going to provide movement forward too, if you need it. But, are you going to ask Cardoso to sit in front of the back two center backs so you can provide Reyna and McKennie complete freedom as the other two center midfielders? That seems weird. You mean you could give it a try, but that's not really, even at Batista, that's not really Cardoso's role. He's not a destroyer. He's not a lane killer. He does a good job at it. He's pretty good at the lane killing stuff, but he's not a destroyer. He's not going to knock motherfuckers out of the game if need be. He's not going to be a massive physical presence like Leonard Maloney is or Tyler Adams is for his size. They're both physical, massive presences. Cardoso's just a much different player. He's just a different guy. And we said it again. He's more like a 6/8, not really just a pure 6. A pure 6 is Adams. A pure 6 is Maloney. You don't have a like-for-like, complete like-for-like comparison. Anyhow, you can say it till I'm blue in the face. It doesn't really matter. Gregg does not rate. We got to play the end of that, dude.
Oh, shit. I got rid of it already. I thought that was it.
Oh, for fuck's sake, no.
That was the last timestamp.
Yeah, we didn't finish him talking. He goes on to blow Maloney completely off. He goes on to completely blow Maloney off and said, there are just a lot of players ahead of him right now. Maybe you don't need to replay it. I just quoted him.
Well, I can pull it up here in just a few seconds if you want.
There are a lot of players ahead of him right now, or all the players here are ahead of him, including Timmy Tillman. How the is that? You think Timmy Tillman would be a starter on Heidenheim right now? Would have led the team to 8th, 7th place, or whatever the fuck it is? I don't think so. Listen, I'm not going to waste all my life worrying about this. I'm not going to lose any sleep about this whatsoever. But if I am Leonard Maloney, I'm sitting in my house right now going, what else do I need to do? Like, I am the core of this team here at Heidenheim. I am one of the major reasons we are at the top half of the table this season, even though everybody considered us fodder for, relegation. Poor guy. I feel bad for him. I really do.
Let's see what he has to say here.
Are we going to finish this
back
up?
to form. He played in the last game, which is good, but he just misses out due to some other guys performing at really high levels.
Like Timothy Tillman.
Copa America.
I did all that for that.
Yes. But
okay.
To say that everyone that beat him for his spot in the midfield are performing better than him and performing at high levels is not accurate. And it's not fair. That's like you're just throwing Timmy Tillman in his face, basically.
I don't know. It's just, Yeah. I mean, again, Timothy Tillman, relatively mediocre seasons in MLS so far. Not sure how he's really being included outside of the fact that he made the one-time switch over. Tyler Adams has been injured an entire year. And I know that he's like the heart and soul of Gregg's team, but he's very much he's definitely not a full 90 kid right now. We can't rely on that. So that's definitely going to be a guaranteed sub. Leonard is outside of his handful of games he's missed because of injury, is a consistent starter for a Bundesliga team. Top half, bottom of the top half, but still, how is he not playing at a high level, and how is he not getting included? It's beyond me.
We wouldn't waste any time on this at all. Had myself and Brett, you've watched your fair share of Heidenheim games. I watched every single Heidenheim game this season that Leonard Maloney played.
They played in, yeah.
Every
I
single
probably watched about 70%
one of them.
Yeah.
And I've also seen plenty of Timmy Tillman. This is the most ridiculous. It's unfair to Leonard. I hope he doesn't lose hope. I hope he sticks it out. But to miss Copa is kind of a sign, if Gregg is still manager by the World Cup, you're probably going to miss the World Cup too.
Yeah, this is one of those things where Berhalter's foot entered his mouth because he just said too much.
Yeah.
Again, I was criticizing him about the whole Leonard was just recovering from an injury, but he could have stopped right there. You could use that as an excuse. Well, he's injured. He just came back at the end of the season. We have Adams because of X, Y, and Z. You could have left it there; it would have been fine. But then all of a sudden, you're like, well, there's other players that are just playing better at higher levels. Well, we can count at least one off that list, right?
I'm sure Lenny took it well on the phone. But if I were him, I would have said, Nicht verstehen. Nicht verstehen. Scheiße. That's what I would have said.
All
right. By the way, if you don't speak German, it means I don't get it. Shit.
All right, we're on to call it what you want now.
Call it what you
Jimmy
want.
Davies and McBride.
Oh, please get rid of McBride as soon as possible. And this is tragic for me. Like I said before,
just comical.
He's such a shill. This is not going to work. He is a shill. He's a former U.S. soccer employee who hopes to, in the future, be re-employed by U.S. soccer or get a job with Gregg as an assistant. I don't know. But you can't have a guy who has a tattoo on his forehead that says U.S. soccer shill come on the show as a replacement for a loose cannon, for the most part, which was great with Jesse. I like the fact that he said stupid shit. At least there was something to talk about, right?
Yeah. And again, I'm just looking at Brian right now, man. There's always that joke that Brian looks like a shark because he has no whites of his eyes.
Right.
It's just how is that possible? But it is.
He looks like he's been eating a lot of fancy food. And I'm not one to speak. I mean, I have lost 10 pounds recently, but yeah, he looks like a bigger mammal than we're used to.
So it looks like we're talking about some Shaq Moore including.
Oh man, this is some of the best shilling you will hear. This is top-notch shilling. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Listen, I love Shaq Moore being a part of this group. And I say that because in my opinion, he's our best 1v1 defender as an American. So,
it's laughable. No, he's not. Have you watched any of the games at Nashville this season? Oh my God. You watched any MLS this season, McBride. Why is Nashville a pile of poo this season so far?
Well, and the funny thing is, I used to make that argument back at Gregg's beginning of his tenure, whenever it was like Shaq Moore or Reggie Cannon, and I'm like, well, Shaq Moore is the better 1v1 defender. Cannon's better at getting into the attack. Well, that was true at the time, but now again, Shaq Moore couldn't hack. He could barely hack it in Segunda. I mean, Could he hack it in the Bundesliga? Is the question.
Shaq Moore's been benched this season in Nashville.
Yeah. Oh. So
Okay?
good.
Like, you can't go out here, if you're Brian McBride, take out a platter, throw your cock on the platter, and say, I am here to support Shaq Moore. I'm balls out. I'm naked and unafraid. That's uncool. And the reason you're embarrassing yourself and whipping out your cock and throw it on the plate is because you're shilling? Like, you're willing to shill this much? Brian, what have you become? Sad. Sad is what you become.
You can see when he's come into this team, and sometimes he's come into this team hadn't even been playing when he was over in Europe.
He's coming into the team. That's gross. It's disgusting.
Right into this group.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Charlie, I get it. He's not going to give you the offensive output that a Sergiño Dest might. But if you
no shizzle,
if he gets caught on an island, he is someone you can count on to defend.
Like Trinidad and Tobago.
Really the one thing I think that he has over a Joe Scally, that he has over a Christopher Lund, because you can put him on the field and say, hey, yes, we want you to get forward. We want you to put crosses into the penalty area and make sure that you're pressing. He's got enough pace to press high.
Dude, he's not done chilling. He is all over Shaq Moore's nuts. I mean, he might have passed the nut area, moved to the taint, and he might be giving him a fucking salad scraping at this point.
Yeah.
It's so absurd. So absurd to see a legend do this to himself.
It's fine to have, a player that you respect and like and want to hype up some, but
I love McBride.
I feel like this is a strange player to pick.
This is not the player who's you need to toss their salad. He just said, yeah, you're right. You're right, Charlie. It's a weird pick, but Gregg has his reasons. That would have been fine. Just move on.
Yeah. But
to toss his salad on a national show on Golazo, it's ridiculous. It's and Charlie Davies, to his credit, was having none of it. Absolutely none of it. He's not done yet. Keep playing it.
Oh man, how much more can you say?
Also recover, and at the same time, if he gets put in 1v1 situation, in my opinion, I think he's our best 1v1 defender. And in Copa America against some really skillful wingers he's going to be going up against. I really like it.
What about the World Cup, Ryan? Did you miss that when he made a total fucking clown of himself? Did you miss that, Brian? Have you watched Nashville this season when he's made a clown of himself multiple times?
Man.
Oh my God! Stop shilling. And I hate saying that. If he were a seaman, that is McBride, and he was as good as of a shucker as he was a shiller, people be eating oysters all night. No problem, because he'd be shucking some serious oysters, like at top speed. And that's what he's doing here. If Shilling were shucking, Brian be fucking. All right, so Jose Reyes for $5. Thank you, my brother. I think I may have a fucking stroke after hearing that. Holy shit, making me swear. That's how the R word McBride is. Fuck my lips. I don't know what does FML mean? I don't know. What
fuck my life.
Oh, fuck my life. Okay. Is that real? Is that what it means? Oh, yes. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
Fuck my lips is funnier. All right. Thank you, Jose. We really appreciate it. As we have to endure this. All right. What's the next one?
29-33, it looks like.
Oh, he does some more salad tossing for Brandon Vasquez. Holy shill.
One big surprise is no Brandon. So that you've got a guy who's really good in the penalty area, completely different than the other forwards in this group.
What?
So that would be my one big surprise. I think that
okay, pause it. How is he that How is he that different from Pepe or Sargent? Like, he goes on to describe Brandon Vasquez as being so amazing in the aerial. He makes Sargent look like the tiniest penis in a porn movie. He makes Pepe look like Did you see Pepe score an amazing header during the Champions League? Like, he can't head the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're saying, Brian McBride, that Brandon Vasquez is so head and shoulders in the box, in the aerial duels, or as a poacher than Josh Sargent, or even Haji Wright, who's also good in the air, by the way, and Pepe, who's pretty damn good in the air. But apparently those guys in the air, they're like 5s, and Vasquez is a 10. Okay? That's what he's saying here. Why is he shilling for Vasquez? Why? Maybe some MLS jobs he's interested in? What do you think, Brett?
Well, I mean, this whole where's Brandon Vasquez has been around since the Nations League window too.
It's like, where's?
So I mean, there's so many people that are pushing that narrative right now.
I don't think that Vasquez is a bad player.
Sure,
he started off really hot. All right, in Mexico, in Liga MX. But look where he's at now. It's cooled off, man. Cooled off fast. And is moving from MLS to Liga MX like this giant jump? Like he went to Germany or something? No. It's a jump, but it's a small hop compared to moving to Germany or even the championship, honestly. So, yeah, I mean, why are we shilling for Vasquez too? Because he's a former MLS player? I don't get it. I don't know. But either he's a dummy or he's shilling. There's only 2 options here. Because we've got, I think, this is me saying it. Berhalter picked the best guys to come. Vasquez did not. It's not a surprise, as he said. It's not a surprise that that Vasquez is not on this squad. How is he surprised by that? How dumb are you? Or how ignorant are you? Or how much of a shill are you? That's all I can say. And I hate saying it because you're a legend, Brian McBride, but you're just doing something wrong here. Something in your brain is not connecting. Certain synapses are not connecting. Maybe you smoked the biggest doobie ever before the show started and you're just throwing shit at the wall. I don't know. I really don't know. Sorry, somebody's going to clip this shit.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Because I'm going off on Brian, but
all right. Well, let's break up the 4 center backs.
He's not done, Brett. He's not.
Fucker, I swear to God,
he is not done shilling. Are you kidding me?
Derek, next time, just say, "Hey, Brett, continue playing."
You should just ask me, "Is he done shilling?"
Well, you went on for a while, and then you stopped, and I was just like, "Oh,
no, he's not done shilling."
So Jack Pineda from 5 says Brian McBride really has 2 fallacies in his hand.
Thank you, Jack. 2 fallacies. Yeah.
He's actually gotten sharper in his movement off the ball in the penalty area. He's finding space a lot better. Really good at holding the ball up. And
he's talking about Vasquez.
He's not someone that is going.
We're not done with him shilling.
Yes, that's who we were talking about. Vasquez.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Sorry. I got lost.
Willing to run behind, and I know people can say Josh Sargent is very similar to that. I think Brandon's a little bit better aerially, so he provides a different.
He's got better
different option, in my opinion. And I think everybody that's on this list that has been on this list has a claim to be able to be on it. Definitely, they all deserve it. My one thought process is knowing Josh Sargent has an injury right now is, since there's 27 on the roster, is Josh coming in to see if he's able to make it. If the injury's not that bad, he's good enough and he can be able to contribute when.
Got to pause every now and then, I guess. But I mean, that would be the argument you can make, right? You know, Josh didn't play.
Yeah,
he got subbed off. Injury this, injury that. But I mean, he played what? He played only like 45 minutes. He played the first half, right?
I mean, one of the reasons that Sargent's on this roster is not just because he's a center forward, but he can also be wing depth, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can put him in instead of Aaronson at the 60th minute to replace Weah. And he's good out wide too. He's good wherever you put him. You can put him in as center attacking midfielder. You can put him in for Reina instead of Tillman if you really wanted to. He can do all that. So, yeah, it's just really bad. I just hated this. I want him off the show because he's a legend. I respected him. He's a colleague in the sense that we both played soccer at the same time. And his team was just better than mine regionally. That's fine. And, we all thought when we were watching his team from St. Louis, like, well, that's a really good team. And that guy's really good. And now here we are 30 some years later, plus years later, I'm thinking, what a jackass. And I don't want to think of that about Brian McBride. So don't put him on the show. This is not what he's good at. He's not good at being like honest. And if this is honest, then he's got more problems than I thought. Like if this is what he really thinks about Shaq Moore compared to the other options that are out there, then yeah, we got a problem. And I know why he lost his job at US Soccer then too, because he's probably not very good at that because he's not very good at this. So go on, hire Brett for the show, hire me, hire Pete, hire Tact. That would be more popular for your show than hiring Brian McBride to shill, because no one's going to watch this show after a while when they realize they are watching a shill. At least with Jesse, we knew he could be weird and say weird things and have kind of weird like opinions on occasion where you're like, oh, I'm not sure if Raina should make the team even. You're like, what? What are you talking about? But at least you knew he was just talking shit, right? He was just off the cuff, kind of like saying whatever was coming to his brain at the time. This is so mapped out as support for Gregg and his pick of Gregg of Shaq Moore. And in the Vasquez thing, I think it's just like a support for a former MLS player. I don't know. Maybe he really thinks Vasquez is the bee's knees as a center forward. I haven't seen that. I saw it Cincy for one season, then the next season not. And now I watched him start off hot in Liga MX and then fade. So I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore, Brett. What am I supposed to think? Go ahead. Sorry. I'll let you read that.
All right. Labrador for $4.99 says nothing says change the way the world views American soccer, like Shaq following Vinny Jr. and Vasquez dunking on Brenner. Gregg and McBride 40 chessing.
And he's friends with Gregg. This is not going to help on the show when you have to do critical commentary about a game we just played, and McBride's going to shill the whole time and support Gregg. This is not going to help this show, Jimmy. Jimmy! I'm texting Jimmy after this. Jimmy! This has got to stop. You got to call somebody at corporate and tell them that this is not going to work. I don't know who you're going to find, but you could find plenty of credible people you could bring on this show who aren't wuss bags or shills. I'd do it. Pay me $500,000. I'll be there tomorrow. Although I'll even cut out all the cussing.
Wow.
Cut out a quarter. I'll cut out all the cussing. I will cut out all the dick references, all the titties things. Everything will be gone. I will be clean as clean could be. I'll be like so clean that you think I worked at, I don't know, a cleaning factory.
With Mr. Clean.
You think I was Mr. Clean. I'll shave my head. I won't cuss. I won't swear, but I will be truthful.
You gotta hit the weights while you're at it too then.
Brian didn't.
Well, you're talking about being Mr. Clean, so.
Well, I'm not going that nuts. I'll just shave my head. But Brian hasn't hitting the weights. I think Jimmy needs to put some weight on. Honestly, he's looking thin. these days. I think Jimmy needs to put some weight on. Honestly, I think he's too healthy. He needs to eat some Twinkies, some ice cream, some steak, and some bacon. Have you seen Jimmy? Lately, he looks thinner and thinner every show. Really kind of gone, you know? I don't want to see his cheeks sink in. He needs to put some weight on. Because if you have like a major medical emergency like I did when my intestines fell into my ball sack and I nearly died, it helps to be 60 pounds, 50 pounds overweight, which is what I was at the time. Probably more than that. Let's see. I'm supposed to be at 190. I was at 255. Yeah, I was over 50 pounds overweight. But doctor told me that helped me recover better because I had a lot of excess, fat to draw from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad I was a big fat whale that people wanted to roll back in the ocean at that point because it did help me. So
is he still shilling here?
What?
Is he still shilling here?
I think we're done.
All right.
Yep.
Off to 5702. I didn't want to make the mistake again.
Oh, here we go. Yep. 3 in the back. Everybody talking about 3 in the back.
See, I like that. And then I'm like, same thing. Attacking, love it. Defensively, oh,
right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh Lord, this is it's tough, and which then makes you revert back to a 4-3-3, right? Because you're like, okay, we don't have to add another center back, so we can take a center back off to keep one of our where our strength is, our midfield. So you're playing, with the, like we said, Tyler with Weston and Gio in front of him.
Fucking Christ, get to the point.
Oh no, it's done. That's all. That's all there is. That was their conclusion after 10 minutes of talking about playing 3 in the back, which is, in the end, that doesn't seem smart. So they all came to that conclusion, which is great, led by Davies, by the way. So credit again to Charlie for leading that, because they talked about it all. And they're like, oh, shit. Well, in that situation, we're leaving this player out. Oh, shit. Mm-hmm. In this situation, we're leaving Reyna out. Oh, shit. Now we're leaving Musah out. Oh, shit. Now we got to move McKennie to an unnatural position. Oh, shit. So all of the 3 in the back solutions, after a while, after they worked it out, they're like, yeah, in the end, better off to go back to the 4-3-3 or the 4-2-3-1 than to just try a bunch of weird shit. They were talking about a 3-5-2, a 3-4-3. We've seen Stu talk about the 3-4-2-1. No, 3-4-1-2.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, guys, we don't live in Disney land here. We're supposed to be covering the sport and delivering people like realistic information. If you're out there spouting Disneyland crap, and people who are casuals or new fans to the game, they've been watching it for a year or 2 years, and they're not experts yet, they're going to expect you or an authority figure who has some legitimate reason for saying what you're saying. So you can't spout shit. At least this was a conversation, which in the end led to them saying, 3 in the back.
It'd be the equivalent of going back into Indiana sports history here. It'd be the equivalent of saying, oh, we're about to take the field goal. We're about to take the kick. And normally Pat McAfee takes it, but I think Peyton Manning might take it this time.
Was Pat McAfee? He's a punter.
Whatever. He's a potato. Kicks the ball.
Pat McAfee's feeling dizzy. So we're going to let Peyton Manning.
You don't have to preface it by saying feeling dizzy. You can just say, no, we're just, I think Peyton Manning's going to take this kick this time.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not, listen, I'm into fantasy like anybody else. Mm-hmm. I liked those old movies when I was a kid. But guess what? When it comes to my soccer, I don't want to be in a fantasy world. I don't want to hear opinions that are Disneyland bullshit. They get pushed and pushed, especially if you're an authority figure that people are looking for. At least Lawless's lineup was in a formation that made some sense. Like, Berhalter wise, it made sense what he put out, but not Stu. No, Stu. Stu hasn't got anything right for 4 years. Why should anybody trust what he says about anything, formation wise, player wise, etc.? He's just been wrong constantly and generally. So, but you know what? You keep doing you, Stu. Listen, brother. No offense to you, but I know you've gone through a lot with your child and all that. I send my blessings to you and your kid. I hope it's all good. I think it is. So it's not personal, but it's your job that I'm criticizing, not you as a person. It's your job. You're bad at your job. You're probably a great person, but you're bad at your job. Period. All right. Sorry.
All right. Well, let's branch out to some personal opinions. We'll do somebody's personal opinion of Copa. As far as maybe we're making this tournament out to be too big of something.
Oh no!
And then we'll branch out into the actual lineups that some people have come up with.
This is the worst opinion this guy has ever had. You know, besides continuously pushing 14-year-olds at us and 15-year-olds that he constantly ogles. That's all he does is push 14 and 15-year-olds at us. I'm sorry, but I think that's not healthy, number one. And number two, it's bullshit. We got to wait. Let these kids grow and play and become 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds before we start talking about them as prospects. You can't do a whole feature tweet on a 13-year-old prospect. We can't do that. Let the kid be. But anyhow, outside of that, his post today, and he already hates me because I'm crude. And I post things that have the word lube in it. He said, I feel like too many in general make Copa America into some huge deal. It's not for the U.S. men's national team. What? Do you? He does realize this is the biggest tournament we're going to play before the World Cup, right?
Yeah. No, Derek. We do have a Gold Cup before the World Cup, so clearly, because that's our federation's trophy.
So this is a bigger tournament than Nations League. It's a bigger tournament, obviously, than the Gold Cup, which has become a second-rate tournament at this point. Yeah. This is the biggest tournament we're going to play before the World Cup against the biggest teams. This is the most important fucking tournament, Mr. Prospect, U.S. men's national team, that we're going to get to do before 2026. Yep, an idiot.
Well, what's more impressive in the long haul? Hoisting up the Copa Trophy or hoisting up the Gold Cup?
Copa.
What do you think people are going to be like, wow, they did it, you know?
It's going to be a huge, if we can, even get to the finals of this tournament, is way more lube-worthy, since he doesn't like those words, it's way more KY worthy than any Nations League win at this point, with CONCACAF being what CONCACAF is. I know we're not winning it, but it's more important if we compete in it and do well. The Nations League is almost a given at this point.
The semis, the last one we played in, where we got the semis, I mean that was incredibly impressive. It was super hyped up.
That was under Klinsmann we made the semis, right?
Yeah.
So if Klinsmann can do it, surely the genius that is Gregg Berhalter can figure out a way to get us to the semis, right? And then he says, not our Confederation Trophy. Fuck that shit. Our fucking Confederation Trophy, the Gold Cup, means dick squat anymore. That's played by MLS players now, you dumbass. Do you even pay attention? Does he pay attention at all? Does this guy pay attention? I don't care if he blocks me. Fuck him. He's a dumbass.
Well, who cares? Who really cares about our Federation's trophy at this point? Because it doesn't amount to shit.
No.
We don't go to Confeds anymore.
Right. Mexico is at the lowest point it's ever been. We're supposed to take joy, whip out the lube, stroke it, and splat the wall for winning our own confederation at this point? with Mexico at its all-time low? That's what you get your jollies from? Give me a fucking break, dude. I'm going to have way more interest, way more excitement if we perform well in this tournament. I can tell you that much. And then he says, really need to...
Say real quick. I mean, even Gold Cup's been sidelined by Nations League at this point. So who really cares? I mean, Nations
I already
League is just
said that, yes!
Yeah.
This is a joke. Gold Cup is an MLS tournament versus whatever shit team at Mexico scratches out of their league because they don't have anybody overseas hardly. And then he says, do we really need to lose Argentina, Brazil to know we're worse? Shut up, dickhead. It's our chance to actually play against good teams. You stupid fucking pack of fucking... Oh, God damn it. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to get in trouble. Oh, I almost said it.
I guess we should just stick to playing CONCACAF teams because, we know we're better and we know we're going to win.
This guy winds me up, dude. Not only is he a prude, he's a prude who thinks mentioning the word lube is a problem. He's just a fucking idiot. And then he says, does it matter so much if we're slightly better or worse than Uruguay, Ecuador, and Colombia? Yes! It does!
This has to be a parody or a joke to me, right?
It's not! This guy is dead serious. No, he is dead serious. I have been posting on this guy's fucking X spot for, I don't know, months now. He is dead serious. He is dead serious about 14-year-old boys and 15-year-old boys and tracking them. He's dead serious about it. He boosts them up. This is what he does. That's why his site is called U.S. Men's National Team Prospects. He's dead serious about this shit. And he's also dead serious about this tournament not meaning dick, which so means if we perform poorly, who cares? Right? Who cares? Who cares? And then he says, yes, lack of qualifiers. That's the whole point. We are not going to have any. This is huge. This cycle
is a competitive game right now. Yeah.
Right. Isn't a good thing. But don't turn Copa America into our Super Bowl. What a soft cream cheese pussy fuck this guy is. If he blocks me, I will take it as a fucking badge of honor. Fucking clip this and send it to him. Fuck him. What a pussy. What a pussy fart. I hate this guy. Treat it like any other national team window that isn't in the World Cup. Fuck you. Why would we do that? This is one of the most important national tournaments on the planet. Copa America. Outside of Europe's big tournament. What's bigger? What is bigger? Copa America has Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, some of the best teams in the world, and you're going to treat it like it's a pussy fart? Holy shit, an accident that came out of some woman's asshole? Or her pussy?
Yeah,
this is ridiculous, dude.
Weird of a pussy fart coming out of an asshole, but...
That means don't push players when it comes to injuries from club situation. Well, of course, you're not going to push players. So that's his conclusion after all the horse shit he laid out is, yeah, it's not that important. Don't really risk any players. No, you should never risk a player that shouldn't be out there. But let me tell you, they're going to do that. Berhalter's going to know about how many minutes certain players can play. Sargent can play this. Adam's going to do that. And this many minutes, and so with that injury is going to do. That has nothing to do with all the bullshit you just laid out in your stupidest post ever. One of the dumbest posts of all time on X about soccer. This guy is the dumbest dude. This is the dumbest post. I don't know if he's a dumb dude. This certainly doesn't reflect well on his intelligence at all. But this has got to be one of the dumbest posts I have ever read in my lifetime, which has been short on X. But I've been on here for what, a year, Brett? This is up there, dude. This is up. And he can ban me. Fuck. I don't really care. Fuck him. Fuck him. What a dipshit.
Well, it means I'm going to have to start liking more of his tweets and bringing them up during the show. It might actually be better for the show for you to be honestly surprised and shocked.
You're going to have to be the good cop on this one. You are, because I definitely could give a fuck about this guy. And all his 14 and 15-year-old posts.
Judgmental Deity says, I hope this was clipped.
The
The great thing about our show, Judgmental, is that you can clip a minute-long segment anywhere. What?
Just
There's
make
there's a
sure.
little scissors button there. You can clip anything you want.
All right. Here's the thing. If you're going to clip this, get the full context. Okay.
Oh, that's going to be tough.
Start it from the beginning. Okay. If you're going to clip it, make it 10 minutes, put it on YouTube.
I think they're just going to clip you calling him what is that, cream cheese pussy fart you called him?
I don't remember. But this is such the worst post I've ever read.
Goodness.
It's like, what world does this guy live on? What drugs is he on? Is he just a dumbass? Is his IQ 84? What is it? What's his problem? Because the way he acts, especially when I post and make jokes on his site, it's like, oh, Derek, oh, God, why are you talking about lube? That's so inappropriate. Yeah, okay, dude, don't come off like you've never used lube before. What are we, children? We were adults talking here, for Christ's sake. Come on.
Derek just sort of blacks out with rage.
Oh, I'm totally here, Brian. I didn't black out at all.
Was the when I made the like you called it a cream cheese pussy fart? Like I don't know.
I know. I remember the cream cheese part. I didn't know I threw them all together.
Yeah.
In word salad wise. So, but yeah, man, that kind of person I can't deal with. Like that's just. I don't hate him. I'm not saying I hate him. I don't hate any.
I think you use those words actually in that rant.
I don't hate anybody, Brett.
I hate motherfuckers like this. I
Word
for word.
It's not true. I hate Hitler. I mean, come on. Let's just give me a break. You know, I'm not. I don't. If I met the guy at the bar, I would chastise him if we got into a beer conversation, but I wouldn't beat him up or anything. I wouldn't do that. What if he's a 15-year-old girl thirsty to use prosect? I don't think he is. I've checked not his junk out. I've checked his information out. All right. I need a break real quick, Brett. Can you give me 5 seconds?
Sure, go for it.
All right, here we go.
So Stu Holden chimes in with Brian's comment when he's quoting Berhalter's interview with Scally as being like for like, and then the other options. Stu goes, interesting. 5 center backs on a roster. I'd like to see a back three with wing backs, because that's what he pushed on Lawless's show when he covered for Mossy. Is that the fantasy 3 center back option? We've talked about this a lot. I don't know if we necessarily have to dive in too far here, but I don't know if Derek had another rant in line for Stu here.
Well, we kind of talked about the whole, 3 center back thing this show. And I think the only thing I really find it frustrating with Stu, as I mentioned earlier before, is, Stu's an authoritative figure. People listen to him. He does the broadcasts. They think he's smart. He's not. And he keeps pushing this shit. Now, listen, if we go into Copa America and we play at 3 in the back, I will beg for forgiveness from Stu Holden. I will. I'll say, Stu, I got it wrong. Because I've been on his posts. I've been criticizing his posts all week. For a week now. He hasn't replied to me. Unlike Alexi's replied to everything I've sent him. But not Stu. Stu won't reply to me.
He's probably still upset that you said that you want to shove an ice pick in your eye when you listen to him talk. So he might have taken that to some offense, because I know Lawler said that he doesn't remember your epic rant, but I mean, we know it got around everyone.
Right. No, and Alexi told me not to worry about it. Stu's I don't know what he called Stu, but anyhow, nothing. I mean, it wasn't mean, but he'll deal with it. Stu's used to it or whatever. So, again, Stu, another player you and I growing up watching, not growing up, I was older than you were, but I was already
I was still an adult whenever Stu was playing. So
yeah, I was an adult too. I thought he's a great player.
Yeah.
But pundit wise, failure so far for me. Just like off the mark too much. You guys should do a U.S. men's national team Reddit segment. Jack, why would we submit ourselves to that?
You
Thank
sent
you
me
for
that link.
the
That link of somebody's like the video that was like this is why they hate you or whatever. The video you were talking, like there's a segment that you wanted to do like that. It could be pulling up stuff from Reddit. Does that mean that's the general consensus of everybody? Is that generally speaking, I think Reddit sucks anyways, but is that the U.S. men's national team Reddit segment is just horseshit?
Well, and they went after me. Not everybody, because thankfully a lot of people.
It was because of your epic rant, if I recall correctly.
Reddit posted my rant on Reddit. I don't know who did it, and then there was like blah 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 blah, and then thankfully there were like a lot of people supporting me on Reddit. When I'm like thankful for that, but it's not a place I've been to often. There's some good darts Reddit that I go to because I love darts. I love the PDC, but that's an odd thing. Not a lot of people are into darts, and I get it. So we don't talk about it a whole lot in the show. It's very much a tiny, tiny thing we bring up. So I found good stuff there, but mostly, no, I don't go on Reddit. I find them to be very, very sensitive. So
I'm just gonna, instead of reading his reasoning for all these players, I'm just gonna go down to his roster and we talk about his lineup.
This is Stu?
No, this is U.S. men's national team takes.
Okay. I don't remember sending you this.
Yep. Or this may have been one I found. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's got Balogun, Wright, and Pulisic.
It's cool. So
4-2-3-1. Yeah. And I'm guessing that means
Weah is playing right back. Yeah. I don't think this is eventually what I'm just trying to mind meld with Gregg. I don't think this is eventually what's going to happen. I think Gregg's going to feel more comfortable playing Pulisic where he usually does alongside Jedi. I think he's going to think Weah should play. I'm just trying to mind meld with Gregg here.
Mm-hmm.
I think Weah, he's going to play in his normal right wing position. And no, I don't think CCV is starting. I think that's going to be Richards and Ream.
Yeah.
If I'm mind melding with Gregg, I don't see CCV starting. And I do think eventually, and this is the really debate, right, between everybody, is Musah, like, first of all, Adams is starting. If he's healthy, he's starting. So Musah's off the field. Okay. Adams is starting over Musah every day of the week for Gregg. So then what do you do with Musah?
Wait until the 45 minutes are up at halftime and then sub him in for Adams?
No, you start him at right back.
I know. I'm joking. In fact, I would almost think that Cardoso would probably be brought in for that point. But yeah. I mean, there's nothing. I don't think there's nothing necessarily inherently wrong with this lineup by any means. No. There are things that I think won't happen, but
right, it's not horrible. It's just that I just don't think Gregg's going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Jake. Holy shit, that's so small. Sorry, that's my fault.
Yeah, and if I keep scrolling in, it's just going to get blurry.
Oh, that was fine. I could still read it. There we go. Yeah, I can see the pictures at least.
Yeah.
And Jake has my lineup.
But Balogun starting.
Except for Balogun, which I would.
And CCV.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's going to be Richards and Ream. Sorry, Jake, but you got most of it right. And the setup, you got it right, too. I think he gets it right. I don't think it'll be answered during the friendlies, whether or not Balogun starts or Sargent starts.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
I think in the end, it's going to be Sargent because he just fits into what Gregg's little dilly-dally, hold the ball up as a center forward, kick it off to somebody else, drop deep. That's all Sargent does that perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Get your head on the ball and across, be a poacher. I mean, that's really all Sargent really is. And then finally, our friend Max Bretos. People are like, wow, man, I can't believe you like Max. Yeah, we like Max.
I like Max.
He's a super nice guy, dude. Yeah. Super nice. You may disagree with him. And I disagree with him all the time on X.
Yeah.
And he totally handles me with, he's has no problem with me disagreeing with him.
Sure.
So this is fine too, except again, why are we?
Everybody's looking the same thing that Pete mentioned in his what he would do lineup is the concept of starting to break away from Ream because Ream's not going to be the starter in 2026, most likely. So you start it now in these meaningful games. You start working on that chemistry. So that's why you're removing Ream and you're putting somebody who you think might be contending.
What all of them are missing, all of them who are doing this are missing, is they don't know Gregg, apparently. Like, are you watching Gregg? You know what Gregg likes to do, even in friendlies, more than anything else? Not experiment. He likes to be conservative. He goes with the best lineup he thinks is going to get him a win. He doesn't give a shit about 2026 yet. He's not doing this for 2026. Gregg knows he needs to win now, or he might be out of a job. If he doesn't get out of this group, he's out of a job. He's not starting Cameron Carter, Vickers, and Richards. No fucking way. He's starting Ream and Richards. They play together on a regular basis for the U.S. men's national team.
And he's also got the middle trio set up similar to how Mexico's lineup was set up. Rain is sitting a little further back on the left-hand side.
Yeah, the only other thing he gets wrong is I do not think that Gregg, even though we did it once, is going to do it again. I think he'll flip-flop McKennie and Musah. I think McKennie will be back in the comfortable spot with Reyna and Adams that he's used to, and he's going to force either Musah or maybe, I don't believe he will. I don't think Scally is Gregg's favorite. I think he will replace him with somebody, and it'll probably be Musah. And he'll want to leave Weah. Also, he'll want to leave as much normal as he possibly can. That's Gregg. I want to keep this as normal as possible. And the only change I'm going to make is it right back. And I'm not going to screw up the whole thing in my system because one player's missing. I'm going to instruct Musah to do his best Dest impression. It's not like Musah's that horrible of a defender compared to Dest, by the way. Right? Is Musah a horrible defender compared to Dest? No.
Horrible comparison? No, not horrible.
They're pretty equal.
I haven't really seen him. I mean, I haven't seen him enough with 1v1 defending on the side like that. But that's not to say that Dest is a great 1v1 defender either. So
I've seen Musah get burned playing in Serie A as a right back, but it's not often enough. It's not like every time. I've seen him play pretty good defense for AC Milan as a right back. It's not like he's gotten better at being a defender, but as far as carrying the ball forward, Musah can do that like Dest does. He can dribble past 2 or 3 guys. That ball glued to his feet, just like Dest does. It's just glued to his feet, and he'll just whip by you. Now, in the final third, can Musah do what Dest does? No, not proven. Not. But closer than Scally can mimic, right? Closer. And do we really want to lose McKennie in the midfield alongside Adams and Reyna? I don't. And I don't think Gregg does. That's more important. What I think doesn't matter. What I'm trying to do is tap into Gregg. And I think Gregg, in the end, will settle for the simplest solution rather than a radical change. Because that's not Gregg. Gregg doesn't do radical change. It took him until he came back after Hudson and BJ proved it could be done to play Reyna as a 10/8. He had to watch BJ and Hudson do it first because he was too chicken shit to do it himself. He'd rather play Reyna out wider as a false 9. But once BJ and Hudson proved that a 4-2-3-1 could work, then Gregg said, okay, I'll do it. I see. It's doable. It looked really good with you, BJ, versus Mexico, you know? So there we go. So I think Gregg is more, first of all, Gregg's looking after his job. So he is not going to upset the apple cart. He's going to look for every way, as he said in his interview. He listed out 5 other solutions before going to a back 3. He listed center midfielders. He listed Weah. He listed even center backs moving to right back before he's like, that might be part of a back 3 thing, but no, probably not. Probably not. But that's what I'm thinking. He was thinking when he was saying that. Probably not.
It's like, yeah, we even have center back.
Yeah, come on.
It was awfully defensive or dismissive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I understand passive aggressiveness, and that's pretty passive aggressively stated.
Yeah, sure.
We got just about everybody else. I think even Turner's going to play right back before he plays center back.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it. Do we have anything?
No, that's all, folks.
Holy shit. 3 hours and 15 minutes. We pulled off another 3-hour show. We must be insane. We must have meatloaf for brains. That's what I think, Brett. Staying up this late. Anyhow, make sure that you clock in and get your KY Jelly. They are the sponsor of the show tonight, and we appreciate that. Hell, your stepsister approves it, number 1. And as they say in their commercial, it would have made the Brady Bunch, porn version at least, much more enjoyable. We love you. Thank you. Make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. If you've got a grandma, share it with your aunts, share it with your uncles, anybody that loves soccer and has a modicum of sense of humor, right? Just doesn't take much. If you don't have
3.5 hours to waste of their life.
Right. Anyhow, we love you. We will see you on Thursday. More to talk about. Pete might be here too. So we'll see you then. Good night.
That hurt.
Then what is this thing?
Gio should never play for U.S. men's national team again because of the action of his parents.
What an idiot! Oh!
What type of Muppet does